Wow, we have a very packed room here today. Thank you all so much for showing up and for joining. I apologize for the delay. The president and I were watching the press conference about the search for Savannah Guthrie's mother, which is just a heartbreaking situation. The president, as you all know, spoke directly with Savannah yesterday and told her that the federal government is here to help. Any requests that are made by state and local officials in the search of Miss Guthrie will absolutely be accommodated. I spoke with the FBI directly about that today as well. And our hearts and our prayers are with Savannah and her entire family as they search for her dear mother. I also have a quick scheduling announcement for all of you. Tonight at 7 p.m. during prime time, President Trump, Dr. Oz, and National Design Studio Director Joe Gebbia will officially unveil Trump RX, a state-of-the-art website for American consumers to purchase low-cost prescription drugs. This historic announcement will save millions of Americans their hard-earned money. So make sure to tune in tonight, and we will see all of you in the news media there. President Trump promised to restore law and order to the United States of America, and newly released data proves he is delivering overwhelmingly on this promise. A study from the Council on Criminal Justice shows that the murder rate across America's largest cities plummeted in 2025 to its lowest level since at least 1900. Again, let me repeat, to put this in perspective, this marks the largest single year drop in murders in recorded history. This dramatic decline is what happens when a president secures the border, fully mobilizes federal law enforcement to arrest violent criminals, and aggressively deports the worst of the worst illegal aliens from our country. The numbers don't lie. Under President Trump in 2025, the FBI increased violent crime arrests by 100% compared to the prior year. The FBI also conducted more than 67,000 arrests from Inauguration Day 2025 to January 20th, 2026, which is 197% more arrests than the same period previously.
You notice how they tie it to illegal immigrants. That's their problem. They lie as much as they stand there. They tie everything to illegal immigrants. That's what it boils down to.
The FBI also disrupted 1,800 gangs and criminal enterprises, a 210% increase from the year prior. The FBI has arrested.
Let's see if she says immigrants in any way, shape, or form related to that.
1,700 child predators and more than 300 human traffickers across the country. Since President Trump took office, 6 of the FBI's top 10 most wanted fugitives have been captured. Right here in our nation's capital, where you all live, so you know it well, whether you choose to report it or not, the president's efforts to make D.C. safe and beautiful have worked. As of last week, D.C. homicides were down 62%, motor vehicle theft down 53%, and 2025 had the fewest violent gun crimes of any year of available data in our nation's capital. For more proof that these tough on crime efforts are working, look at the president's Make Memphis Safe Again campaign. As of last week, there have been nearly 5,600 arrests made, and aggravated assaults are down 53%. Sexual assaults are down 53%, and robberies are down 70%. Again, that's just in the city of Memphis. 5,600 arrests have taken place because of this president and his Homeland Security Task Force that has surged into Memphis at the request of both the governor and the mayor in that city. A Democrat mayor, I will add. These are the results that can happen when Democrats and Republicans, when the federal government and state and local officials work together. And that's what Trump wants to see to improve public safety across our country. When you have a leader like President Trump who empowers good cops to be cops and to arrest bad criminals, American communities will become safer. Many of the media outlets in this room have expressed shock and confusion at these remarkable statistics. The New York Times declared that, quote, no one knows for sure what's behind the staggering drop in the murder rate. The reason is very clear. It is President Trump's leadership and his unwavering.
We don't know this for sure, simply because this administration lies directly to your face. So we can't really believe what they're saying. You have to take that into account, that they lied about Alex Preddy. once they lied about one thing, they're suspect to lying about anything else. So we don't believe you until we feel it.
Commitment to law and order. The drop in crime is more proof that all that is required to improve public safety on our streets is a leader with the will to do what is necessary to protect law abiding American citizens. The terror and chaos that was unleashed under Democrat rule is a choice. It's a choice to put violent criminals ahead of innocent Americans, a choice to force us all to live in fear because of soft on crime liberal politicians.
Wait a minute. How is it that we saw? Wait a minute. How is it that what Americans? See, she ain't said it yet, but she about to say it. Watch.
Prosecutors and judges who lack the basic willingness to do their jobs and put dangerous people behind bars. On November 5th, 2024, the American people made a resounding choice that they've had enough of that, and that's precisely why they reelected President Trump. So even as Democrats and the liberal media are engaged in hysteria about this administration arresting and deporting violent, criminal, illegal aliens, the undeniable truth is that deporting these individuals is one of the primary reasons why America's streets
are safer than they are. I love how y'all lie. I love how you lie. Statistics. Put the statistics out there, Karoline. This is a lying Caroline again, who lies all the time she gets in front of the camera.
Safer today than they were 1 year ago when President Trump assumed office.
Now, if we go by the FBI statistics says that the immigration criminality is less than the regular Americans' criminality. If we go by that, then she's obviously lying. If we go by that, unless we just gonna go by what these two clowns say, Karoline, Levitt, and Trump. If we go by what those two clowns say, then it's murdering and raping and grape and all that good stuff all over the world, but all over the country. But if we go by the FBI statistics, the actual statistics, then we would know that this is not true. What she's saying is not true, of course.
Former President Biden and the Democrats left our borders wide open, and President Trump and the brave men and women of ICE are removing these dangerous criminals. So here are just a few recent examples. Number one, a Venezuelan national and active Tren de Aragua gang member with a rap sheet including homicide, assault, child cruelty, domestic violence, and property damage. This is an individual I can assure you not a single one of you in this room would want in your neighborhood, whether you admit it or not. He entered the U.S. in 2022, and he was released into our country by the Biden administration.
Yeah, but if he's such a bad guy, why did y'all end up killing two regular American people? How did y'all kill those people, or were you just clumsy when you killed the two American people? I'm confused. Y'all can't seem to locate these people, but you can locate Americans to kill Americans, though.
No longer here, thanks to President Trump. An El Salvadorian national and known MS-13 associate, previously convicted of homicide, conspiracy to commit homicide, and kidnapping, arrested for arson, battery, armed carjacking, and assault.
Let's hope the American people, well, I know most of y'all won't be able to see through it, but this is what you call fear mongering. When goofies keep saying to me, HQ, you're fear mongering. No, this right here is fear mongering. This right here, where you hammer on and over and over and over again that the illegal people are dangerous, you're going to have people running around saying that same dumb shit, even though the FBI statistics says it's not true.
He entered illegally in 2016, was released by the Obama administration, and ICE just arrested him on January 8th, 2026. This example shows you how many criminal illegal aliens have been roaming American streets freely because of a lack of attention to this matter from the previous administration, and President Trump is cleaning up their mess. A Cuban national and blood gangs member convicted of multiple homicides and robbery. ICE arrested him on October 27th and removed him on January 6th, 2026. Arresting and deporting these types of illegal criminals is precisely what the American people voted for.
You're going to be scared of you brown people, huh? I just want to know. I never did get that question answered. How did you brown people vote for deportation? How do y'all self-deport? This is what I want to know. How did you self-deport yourself?
And despite desperate recent attempts by Democrats and those in the media to undermine the president's deportation agenda, these efforts are failing. Brand new Harvard Harris polling shows overwhelming support for President Trump's efforts to protect law.
No, there's overwhelming support for getting the border under control, not overwhelming support for the president. Let's be clear. Most of us support ICE. We just don't support you guys the way you use an ICE to beat up American citizens. Let's be clear. The Trump does not have our support.
Law-abiding citizens from criminal illegal aliens. Nearly 8 in 10 Americans say criminal illegal aliens should be deported. A solid majority also support deporting all illegal aliens, regardless of additional crimes. And more than 2 in 3 Americans back the Trump administration's common sense requirement that state and local officials cooperate with federal authorities and work to hand over criminal illegal aliens in local jails for swift deportation. Finally, to prevent another invasion of millions of illegal aliens from happening again, President Trump and Secretary Noem delivered the most secure border in American history. 0 illegal aliens were released into our homeland over the past 9 months. This is a truly remarkable achievement. Again, 0 illegal aliens released into the country in 9 months. This is staggering, and it deserves more attention from all of you. Overall, Customs and Border Protection recorded the lowest total encounters in agency history. Daily encounters have fallen by 95%, averaging just 250 apprehensions at the southern border a day. This is compared to
This is why they're slipping in the polls. They're slipping in the polls, and they're inundating the American people with success stories. We understand what you're doing. We never heard this information out of any president before. This is not relevant to us. The only thing you're doing is fear-mongering the people, because people listen, you hear it over and over and over again, and you have soft-minded people who actually believe what she's saying. So she's saying all the good things, but none of the bad things.
over 5,100.
None of the bad things, like they're actually murdering people under ICE. They're actually putting people in the hospital. They're actually shooting people. American people, deporting American people, arresting American people. She's telling you all the good things. She won't tell you the bad things, like the murders and the kidnappings. She won't tell you those things.
Daily apprehensions.
We can't believe anything that comes out of this administration's mouth because they lied about Alex Preddy. Once you lie once, you can't expect us to believe anything you say.
During the Biden years. It's a night and day difference because we finally have a president who enforces the law and lets our law enforcement do their noble jobs of protecting our homeland. When President Trump campaigned on making America safe again, this is exactly what he meant, and the numbers and the results speak for themselves. With that, I will open it up to questions today. We're going to start with Daniel Baldwin from One America News, who is here religiously covering the White House beat every day. So it's good to see you in a chair instead of standing up today, Daniel. Thanks for being here, and why don't you kick us off?
Thank you, Karoline. It's an honor and a privilege to represent One America News in the new media seat. First question on the DHS funding bill. Funding runs out in the better part of 8 days or so. Democrats, at least verbally, are very dug in. What does the White House believe their end goal is when it comes to this funding fight, when it comes to immigration policy?
Why y'all only listen to what you hear? I said this administration has been known to lie about very, very important things. So therefore, I don't believe the stories that they're telling now. If you would have been truthful and honest from the beginning, maybe. I believed half the things you said when you said them, but I definitely don't believe you now because you lied about Alex Preddy. Nobody in the nobody in the Biden administration lied about anybody as crucial as that. So stop trying to make that comparison. There is no comparison.
At large, what is their end goal when they're dug in a position like this at this point in time?
Well, the president has 2 end goals. One is to obviously keep the government funded and open, and that includes the Department of Homeland Security, which does not just touch upon ICE and Border Patrol, but also FEMA, the United States Coast Guard, the United States Secret Service, These are brave public servants who work to protect our homeland. The president wants these individuals to get paid. Secondly, when it comes to any discussions about immigration policy, the president is never going to waver in his commitment to allow immigration enforcement efforts in this country and to support ICE and Border Patrol and the deportation of illegal alien criminals. I know Senator Schumer and Leader Jeffries sent over a very long list of demands, some of which the administration is willing to discuss. Others don't seem like they are grounded in any common sense, and they are non-starters for this administration. But we're not going to negotiate policy from the podium. I'm going to allow the president to do that, and any final decisions that are made will be made ultimately by him. But rest assured, he is never going to allow law enforcement in the jobs that they do, the important jobs that they do, to be undermined.
And secondly, Karoline, the Department of Homeland Security put out a tweet a better part of an hour ago alleging that an illegal alien was involved in a major car wreck in Indiana, killing 4 people, and they allege that the suspect in question came in under the CBP-1 app under the Biden administration and received a commercial driver's license from the state of Pennsylvania. What is the White House's reaction to a situation like this? And what is the White House doing to crack down on cases like this where illegal aliens are obtaining commercial driver's licenses?
Yes, this is another abhorrent example of the border crisis over the past 4 years. And it again exemplifies why the administration must continue and will always continue to fully back and support ICE and Border Patrol and law enforcement in their removal of illegal alien criminals from our country. For those who don't know, and all of you should report on it, 4 Americans were tragically killed and lost their lives this week yet again from an illegal alien, an individual who was paroled into the country by the Biden administration using the CBP-1 app, which they created like it was a magic pass for Disneyland.
Was somebody gonna ask her about why Trump took the files, the Florida what is it, the Georgia files? Anybody gonna ask her how many people got hurt or killed under ICE's watch this week? This is what I mean by the press is not doing their job, and she's lying directly to them. So
that's not how immigration in this country should work. And this illegal alien from Kyrgyzstan was traveling on an Indiana highway, and he failed to brake for a slow semi-truck in front of him. He swerved into the lane and he crashed into a van carrying 15 passengers, and 4 people were killed in that crash. This is another tragedy that could have been prevented if not for the wide open borders from the previous administration.
I mean, they're mentioning how good ICE is at catching people. Since she's mentioning how good it is that they can catch people, I would like to know how many people got hurt under ICE's watch. How many people did ICE handcuff that was American? How many people how did they get harassed? How many people got harassed or hurt under the ICE's under their watch? Because I'm pretty sure people have been hurt since Preddy's been killed.
That's why we now have a secure border. That's why this administration will continue to deport illegal aliens from our country. Thank you for being here. Garrett.
John, thank you for your comments and your prayers for the Guthrie family. I have 2 questions related to the president's interview with NBC yesterday.
Sure.
No, it's only 56. It's only 56, and that's over 8 years. Bud Russell, get the facts straight. Only 56, and all of it over 8 years. How many have we lost under this president in 1 year? Almost 40. Get your facts straight.
At one point in the interview, the president said that he believes states are accumulating the votes for who wins the election. He says if they, meaning the states, can't do it honestly and can't be done properly and timely, then something else has to happen. What did he mean by that? Is he suggesting that the federal government count votes in elections?
What the president is suggesting, and I just spoke.
Did you just say, look at the number of illegals arrested? What the hell are you talking about? I'm talking about American citizens, not illegals. We're talking about American citizens who they shouldn't even be engaging with. What are you talking about? We're not talking about illegal aliens. We're talking about American citizens that have been hurt. You get your facts straight.
To him about this is that Republicans and Democrats in Congress should pass the Save America Act. This piece of legislation is going to ensure that states are abiding by federal election law by removing non-citizens from their voter rolls. In addition, the Save America Act will require voter ID to vote, and it will require proof of citizenship to register to vote. These are very common sense policies and proposals that 89% of our country agree with. So that's what the president is talking about. Again, I just spoke with him about this, and he's calling on both Republicans and Democrats to send the Save America Act, to pass it into law and to send it to his desk as quick.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of you putting the Save America Act on the block, on the chopping block. You want to put it up there because if they don't have the same name, they can't vote. If you don't register or get a birth certificate or get a passport or get any of those things, you can't register to vote, which means the people who are registered already will be kicked off the rolls. That's not how that's going to work. You will be kicked off the rolls. No, we're not doing that.
As possible.
The SAVE Act doesn't say anything about who counts votes, which has always been a state, a local, a county function. Why does he keep talking about somebody else, presumably the federal government, counting votes?
Because the SAVE Act directs states to remove non-citizens from their voter rolls. And we know in states across the country,
how many times do we have to say it? Illegal people cannot vote. It doesn't matter what roll they're on, they cannot vote. The votes become invalid if they find out they don't match the registration or the signature. Illegal people are not voting.
President is right to point this out. In states like California or in places like New York City, non-citizens are allowed to vote in state and local elections, and the federal government should absolutely.
No, they don't. No, they're not. See, that's a lie that people tell. They don't get to vote in elections. They don't. They are illegal. They have a marker on their IDs. She's spouting the same garbage some people are spouting. They have markers on their IDs that identify them as illegal. When they go to try to vote, they can't vote, so they don't vote. Yeah, okay. You believe whatever you want to believe. So all you goofies got to do is figure it out. Think it through. Think it through.
Absolutely do away with that. I don't think a single person in this room, if you really are being honest with yourselves, should agree that non-citizens should vote in American elections, no matter where that election is up and down the ticket. And so this is a piece of federal legislation that will help states ensure the integrity and the sanctity of their elections. And that's what the president wants. Peter.
Thanks, Karoline. President Trump posted about Nancy Guthrie that he is directing all federal law enforcement to be at the families and local law enforcement's complete disposal immediately. What should we expect to see from the federal government in coming days in the search to find Nancy Guthrie?
It's a very good question, Peter, and it's why I was on the phone with the FBI earlier this morning to ask that. And what they told me is that the FBI, again, is at the disposal of the state and local government. Whatever personnel or assets or resources that the state and local authorities and police need will be granted to them at the direction of the president, the FBI director, and the attorney general.
A different law enforcement issue. The FBI just found 1,000 samples inside an illegal biolab in Las Vegas. It is linked to a different biolab that was previously raided. There are ties to China. What does the president think the CCP might be up to here?
I haven't spoken to him about this specific investigation from the FBI, but I'm happy to. And I'm sure he's very glad that this is something the FBI discovered. And we'll make sure anyone who is involved in illegal activity will be held accountable.
And just one more about this weekend. At the Mar-a-Lago Super Bowl party, after the first two quarters, are the TVs going to be on the halftime show with Bad Bunny or the halftime show with Kid Rock?
I think the president would much prefer a Kid Rock performance over Bad Bunny. I must say that. Jennifer.
On the nuclear arms pact, we saw the president's post on that.
Yes.
But can you say, is there a temporary agreement with Russia to stand by the terms of the New START treaty while negotiations are happening?
Not to my knowledge. Again, to your point, Jennifer, I just do want to reiterate exactly what the president said. He wrote just moments ago, the United States is the most powerful country in the world. I completely rebuilt its military in my first term, including new and many refurbished nuclear weapons.
See, and we could have did all of that. We could have got raised the minimum wage. We could have got free lunch for every kid in school. We could have put health care on the table as a single payer. We could have did a lot of things for this country. Nobody thinks about the middle class. They only think about something else other than that. It's never about the middle class. It's always about something else.
I also added Space Force and now continue to rebuild our military at levels never seen before. We are even adding battleships, which are 100 times more powerful than the ones that roamed the seas during World War II, the Iowa, Missouri, Alabama, and others. I have stopped nuclear wars from breaking out across the world between Pakistan and India, Iran and Israel, and Russia and Ukraine, rather than extend.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You sit there and spout it, don't mean it's true. Just because you say it is, don't mean it's true.
New START, a badly negotiated deal by the United States, which I will add was renegotiated under former President Barack Obama. Aside from everything else, is being grossly violated. The president
Oh, what the fuck is going on with my computer?
wants to have our nuclear experts work on a new, improved, and modernized treaty that can last long into the future. And that's what the United States will continue to discuss with the Russians. Leisure.
Thank you, Caroline.
Sure.
Did President
Mm-mm.
Trump
Yeah.
himself ever ask DNI Gabbard to head down to Fulton County, Georgia?
The president was asked and answered that question just yesterday. I've seen a lot of the media in this room get very caught up with the semantics of why Tulsi Gabbard is there. I will tell you why, and the president agrees with this, because election security is essential to national security. And as the director—
Not even close, young millennial, not even close. Ain't got nothing to do with immigration.
of National Intelligence—
How you down there stealing ballots from the 2020 election? Somebody put in the chat exactly why would you need to go and get ballots from the 2020 election? Why would y'all need to go down there and get that? Then why would you need to go down to Puerto Rico? Then why would you go down and start showing proof of the book? You ain't saying there's no proof that needs to be done. I thought y'all were adult. I thought I was talking to adults who knew how to look shit up. Okay, I thought you knew how to look shit up. Apparently, we got to walk you through everything. Every time somebody says there's an illegal aliens voting, we got to walk y'all through the whole fucking process that it don't make sense. Okay, who the fuck cares how many people died in Obama's custody? Who the fuck cares? We talking about how many people died today under ISIS custody. What the fuck are y'all talking about? See, that don't even make sense to me. Why the hell are we talking about Obama or who died under Obama over an 8-year period? What in the fuck are y'all talking about? We talking about people getting killed today, American people getting killed today. You idiots are talking about something that happened 8-9 years ago. What the fuck are you talking about? This is why I can't have conversations with some of y'all, because you don't stay on topic. Motherfucking Obama ain't the president. Whether the 76, 56, which I think is 56, 70, which you say is 70, it don't matter how many died. We talking about this president today killing American people. And then you dumb motherfuckers are talking about something way we don't even give a fuck about Obama. They died under Obama. Don't nobody care? How many illegals died under Obama? We talking about Americans today. Shut y'all's ass up. Damn.
It is a part of Ms. Gabbard's role to make sure that American elections are free of foreign interference and that American elections are safe and secure. And so the ODNI director is working with the FBI on this effort, and the president wholeheartedly supports both Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard in ensuring that American elections are safe, are secure, and are free of foreign intervention.
Is there any
Michael.
indication?
Yeah, but why would you? Oh, okay. Oh, shit. Now I know why they've been lying. I know why they've been lying now. She said it. Oh,
That there's
Thank you,
foreign
Caroline. With
influence.
federal law enforcement's involvement in the search for
Well,
Nancy Duck.
excuse me one second. It's the media who has said that there's Russian interference in American elections. You guys,
yeah, nah. Don't try to back out. Don't try to back out. This is what this is about. This president and this administration, they know they did a shitty job. They know they're doing a shitty job. America is rejecting all that they are talking about, all that they want to do. The American is being rejected. I mean, the Trump administration is being rejected. So now they're going to try to set the midterms up so that they won't lose so badly. But y'all going to lose very badly because of the policies that you put into place, because y'all killed 2 and 3 Americans. That's why. Why?
been saying that for many, many years. So the people
in Fulton
well,
County.
the people in this room can
Because she mentioned, why would anybody foreign be involved in our elections? That's something that Donald Trump had when he was being elected, when he was being put in the White House the first time. You're the one that had foreign interference. Nobody else has had foreign interference in their elections because the integrity of the elections has been tightened up. Now they want to bring in something regarding foreigners messing with the elections. So that's why they took those voting blocks from Atlanta and from Puerto Rico so they can set it up like we did something or somebody did something wrong.
considering that you all said for many years that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help Donald Trump.
Your FBI said that, lady. The FBI said it. We didn't say it. The FBI said it. Talk to the FBI.
Trump, you should all be very happy that we finally have an administration that is looking into that, and we'll be happy.
Why would y'all need to be looking into it? The administration that got the help, the administration that got the foreign help is looking into it. Wow.
To keep you posted. Michael.
Thanks, Caroline. With the FBI's involvement in the search for Nancy Guthrie now, has this search expanded nationwide outside of Arizona? And given Pima County's proximity to Mexico, is this now an international search?
Well, Michael, that would be a question for state and local authorities as they continue to oversee the investigation at this time. Again, the federal government and the FBI have offered any and all resources, but the state and local authorities are still leading the investigation. So I would direct you to them. I'm certainly not in a position to talk about it.
Another question, Caroline.
Sure.
Friday's talks with Iran, they were originally supposed to take place in Turkey. They've now been moved to Oman. Can you tell us the reason for that move?
Look, the president, diplomacy is always his first option when it comes to dealing with countries all around the world, whether it's our allies or our adversaries. And so Special Envoy Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be traveling to Oman for those talks tomorrow, and we will see what comes of those. The president is standing by for an update from them. Sure, in the pink.
Thank you, Caroline. Cuban leader Miguel Diaz-Canel said today that Cuba would be willing to engage in dialogue with the United States only without pressure, without preconditions, on equal footing and with respect for sovereignty. But his government is denying what President Trump said, that they're already holding talks.
Of course the president is lying. He lies all the time. That's why we can't believe what they say. We can't believe what they say out of this White House. Everything they say has a slant to it, and it has a lie that's attached to it. It's like scary. 90% lie, 10% fact, and then you got goofies like the people in the chat who believe the lies, and the rest of us who hear that 90%. That's wild. That's wild. The people overseas, the president keeps saying that they're taking talks with the president. And the people overseas keep saying, your president is lying. We're not taking talks with your president. That's what they're saying.
How would you respond to that?
I think the fact that the Cuban
Of course he's lying. Shit, what the fuck is going on? Of course he's lying. Sorry about this. What the hell is
government is on its last leg and its country is about to collapse.
Of course it is. Of course it is. What the hell?
They should be wise in their statements directed towards the President of the United States. But as I just reiterated, the President is always willing to engage in diplomacy, and I believe that's something that is taking place, in fact. With the Cuban government.
I'm not
And-
doing
Yeah,
jack
thank you,
shit.
Caroline. So the Office of Personnel Management released a final rule today that makes
I'm not doing anything, and the computer
it
has
easier to fire government employees who are not doing their job, basically. Does the president believe that there are people in his government still that are not following his agenda?
That's a good question. I have not asked him about that. I mean, look, it's a very big government, right? There are thousands.
Oh yeah, I'm finna do a story on that garbage. I'm finna do a story on that. This is what happens when you try to be an ideologue and make people be loyal to you instead of being loyal to the Constitution and loyal to their jobs. You know, this is what happens to the government.
People who work for the federal government here.
Y'all got plenty of options. Half of y'all got plenty of options. Y'all just dumb and you zombies. You don't bother me at all.
In Washington, D.C.
You're
This
zombies.
administration has been very much focused on ensuring that we have an efficient and productive workforce for the American taxpayer. There's not a day that goes by where we don't show up and realize we are public servants working on behalf of the American people and everybody.
No. We know you lying about that because Donald Trump fired all those government people who weren't loyal to him, which means he doesn't want people dedicated to the Constitution. He wants people dedicated to him. Otherwise, he would have kept the civil servants that he needed to keep. Nah, not at all, George. Not at all.
The federal government best have that mindset, or they won't be welcome to work for this administration. So I think it's a good thing that the Office of Personnel Management put this rule out. I think if people aren't doing their jobs, if they aren't showing up for work, if they're not working hard on behalf of this president, they're not welcome to work for him at all.
The New York City mayor.
We can't wait till November comes. I can't wait till November comes when all of these shysters and scammers get kicked out of their jobs and then get under investigation. Y'all definitely need to put this lying mouthpiece on trial. And a couple of those people in the fucking room too.
Dealing with a $12 billion budget deficit. If he texted President Trump, would the president bail him out?
I'll leave that answer to the president himself, Ed. Kristen, go ahead.
One more follow-up on Deanna Gabbard. You said that the president supports the fact that she was there, but last night when he was asked about it, he said he didn't know why she was there. He didn't say that he directed her. Can you clarify on that?
No, we don't need to clarify. We already know the president is a liar. That's why I said from the beginning, you can't trust anything this administration says because he lies. Let's see if she supports this lie.
Did she go by herself and he learned later and supports it?
Well, did you look at the full entirety of his response? I was in the room for that NBC interview, Kristen, and he just said exactly what I told you, which is that election security is essential to national security. We need to ensure that our elections are free and are fair.
No, they're going to try to steal the election because they understand that their policies are shitty. And the American people are running away in horror of what they have been doing. So now they can't win legitimate elections, so Republicans will try to steal them.
And are free of foreign interference. And he spoke about how Miss Tulsi Gabbard is involved in that effort. So you're taking like the first three words.
Tulsi Gabbard should not be involved in any election process. She is in charge of 18 agencies that you're not supposed to be in charge of anything to do with domestic things. So now they got her out here lying about Tulsi Gabbard. And Tulsi Gabbard is not saying a thing. This is why.
That he said to one question and not looking at his entire response.
On what you said about foreign interference. You talked about 2016 and Russian interference. But what we've learned from these Georgia officials is what was seized by the FBI were ballots from 2020.
Yes, because they're going to say that the election is tainted so that they can say we need to be at the election or we need to take over the election. They're going to try to manufacture something for the 2023 election and the 2024 election. They're going to manufacture something. Y'all come back here the minute they announce it. I don't want to hear nobody's mouth. They're going to say we're going to take over the elections or some shit like that.
In this Fulton County Election Center, do you have any evidence that there was international interference in the 2020 election in this election center?
No, no proof whatsoever. Because you know how I know? They went down there and they took the Atlanta ballots. Atlanta went over their ballots at least 5 or 6 times for fraud because the president tried to he tried to coerce the officials in Atlanta to change the ballots so that he could win. They went over those ballots 3, 4, 5 times to see if they could find ballots for Trump, and they never did. So Atlanta's voting record and rolls is impeccable. But yet and still, they went over there and they stole or took all of those voter rolls from Atlanta so they can lie and say there's some kind of fraud. And the Republican Party down in Atlanta had better stand up and say, we went over these 4 or 5 times. You can't lie on us. And that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to lie on the voters or the Republican Congress down there about those ballots. That's what they're going to try to do.
Well, what I do have evidence of, and what the media seems to be undermining, is why Tulsi Gabbard is there in the first place. And I would point you again to federal law that clearly assigns the DNI and the office with the statutory responsibility to lead counter intel matters related to election security. This includes assessing risks to election voting systems, software, voter registration databases, and more, and analyzing foreign interference. And the ODNI is responsible for supporting the White House interagency action to secure our elections through intel analysis and vulnerability assessments. And they should be routinely collaborating with agencies like the DHS.
And to make it so bad, the president is not supposed to have anything to do with elections. It's not his lane. He can't change the lane. He can't do anything like that. So they're going to try to do something before this election happens. I wonder what. We got an idea because Tulsi Gabbard was there. We have an idea that they're going to say there was some kind of foreign election interference. We know that. We just don't know what
the DOJ and the FBI. So as for that question, it would be better suited to ask the Director of National Intelligence herself in her office. But what I'm telling you is that it is more than appropriate. In fact, it is Tulsi Gabbard's job to ensure that our elections are safe and secure. And that's exactly what she's been doing.
That's not her job. That's not her job.
On the ground in Georgia. And I don't understand why anyone in this room, considering you're all American citizens, I believe, and like to vote in our nation's elections, should have any problem with that whatsoever. Now,
thank you, Karoline. The president said that the administration should take a softer approach on immigration enforcement. He's also suggested for months that some migrant workers should be spared from these raids based on what they're doing. Is the administration going to continue to conduct large worksite raids as it seeks to target violent criminals? And can you clarify, is the federal government going to continue doing these deportation operations in blue cities where authorities say they don't want them?
Well, first, again, to the president's answer yesterday, the full context of his answer was that he'd like to see a softer touch, but we are always going to remain tough. That softer touch the president is referring to is that cooperation that is necessary between state and local authorities and federal government authorities to ensure that we can continue deporting illegal aliens from our.
They just want to have fights. They want a whole bunch of people out in the street, certain people out in the street. But see, he can't call the insurrection because he don't have the right people out there. Once you get the right people out there, then he'll call for an insurrection act. Other than that, he not going to call for the insurrection act. So we don't have to worry about that now. Black folks, you just stay home. Don't worry about this. Let them keep breaking them off. White folks, let them keep doing all that stuff. Okay, we don't have nothing to do with it. Let them be out. Let them be out there protesting and doing all that shit.
Our communities without tons of agents having to go after one illegal alien. If the states and the local governments just turn over their illegal aliens to ICE at jails, as they should be doing, it requires one agent to deport that one illegal alien who can.
Hell yeah, we staying home because we understand the assignment. We had the assignment. We did the assignment on November 24th. They wanted to self-deport. Mexican, Latino people wanted to self-deport, deport all their people. Y'all go ahead. Y'all need to talk to y'all people and get y'all shit together. Half the white people need to get their shit together and do what they got to do. Get this president up out of there. But we ain't coming out in the street because we already know what time it is.
And then go on their way to their home country in a peaceful manner. The escalation that we've seen take place in Minnesota is a direct result of the refusal.
Well, only goofies would believe there's paid people out there. Ain't nobody out there being paid. So, I mean, that's only y'all. I mean, simpletons believe that shit. But, go ahead.
Of state and local officials to cooperate with the federal government and with ICE, which has led to these hostile and dangerous environments. And so we don't want that. Again, the president wants direct cooperation, and that's what he was referring to. As for worksite raids, I don't broadcast any future act.
Just like y'all simpletons believe foreigners vote. Same concept. Foreigners believe y'all vote. Foreigners believe in the shit that they keep saying. They just lie. You just got to listen to them and then know that they lie. Vote. Foreign people, illegal aliens don't vote. They can't vote. Nobody has come up with, I've said this in a chat a couple times. Nobody has come up with, Nobody has come up with an idea as to how they vote. They don't vote. And nobody can prove it otherwise. So
that may or may not happen from the Department of Homeland Security. But again, the president's focus and the administration's focus.
Getting bust to protest doesn't mean they get paid, George Goofy.
Is on targeting illegal alien criminals, especially those who have committed heinous crimes in our country, as evidenced by the few illegal aliens that I just shared with you here today.
Will ICE and Border Patrol avoid going to other blue cities where the local officials are saying, we won't work with you, we don't want you here?
Well, first of all, those local officials should be wanting to work with ICE. Why would any official,
why would anybody want ICE to come there when ICE is killing American people? Please explain.
Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, want murderers and predators in your city. It makes zero sense. It's an untenable position. The only reason Democrats are taking that position now is because their entire party platform is just anti-Trump. It makes no sense for the American people. They should be calling this.
Nobody should be calling y'all. Y'all said that people who murked human beings get qualified immunity. So nobody wants y'all to come into their city. Nobody. So stop that right there. It's talking about they should want them to come over. Don't nobody want y'all in their city because y'all don't mind killing folks. That's wild.
White House, they should be calling Secretary Noem, they should be calling Tom Homan, and they should be saying, we want to work with you to remove the worst of the worst criminals from our city. Please come here. So yes, ICE is going to continue to do their job in cities and communities across the country, but it certainly makes it much easier when we have that level of cooperation and corroboration at the state and local level. In places like Florida, where there has been the arrest of thousands, tens of thousands of illegal alien criminals.
All those people, they keep saying tens of thousands. Y'all really believe there's tens of thousands of illegal aliens in South Florida? Sure, there's illegal aliens. Sure, there's people who commit crimes. But tens of thousands of people that commit crimes? What this administration did was they revoked their citizenship. They revoked all of those who was a Cuban. They revoked those Cuban people's passport. They revoked all of their citizenships. Now all of those people down there are illegal. So shoot, you can just go down there and keep snapping them up on the bus. All of them people are illegal. because this administration revoked their I want to say immigration status. What was it? Something they revoked. I forgot the name.
None of you talk about that, or none of you hear about that, because these operations are going seamlessly and peacefully. Why? Because there is an intimate cooperation between the state government and the federal government. And that's what the president wants to see in all 50 states. In the whites, yes.
Hi, thank you, Karoline. Over the weekend, President Trump said that he was giving a serious look at endorsing in the Texas Republican.
Yes, that's right. ICE has, if they give immunity to I believe they gave immunity to these ICE people. I believe that's what they told the immunity, the ICE people. You guys got immunity, so we want y'all to go down there and bust heads and put people in jail. And that's how we ended up with 2 white dead folks. That's how we ended up with 2 white dead folks, because of that qualified immunity that damn JD said that they had. So why would anybody want y'all to come in their neighborhood and get anybody? Nobody wants y'all in the neighborhood. Y'all already done proved that y'all don't mind killing people. You don't mind killing people. You don't mind cracking people's head. Who wants y'all in their neighborhood? Nobody. Nobody would enough sense, seeing as how they kill white people too. I'd be thinking y'all wouldn't even want them in the neighborhood neither. We black folks ain't coming outside. It's all on y'all.
Senate primary. We know that Minnesota and Georgia also have competitive, crowded primaries. Is he giving those races a serious look as well?
Well, I'm not allowed to speak from the podium on any future political endorsements the president may or may not make, but I know that he is watching all of these races across the country quite carefully. I won't get ahead of him on any potential endorsements. John.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. 2 questions for you about the continuing resolution that the president signed for the Department of Homeland Security. What would be the repercussions for all of the agencies under DHS if no agreement is reached on funding when that deadline approaches next Friday?
Well, there will be grave repercussions for all of those agencies, but more importantly, frankly, for the American people who those agencies serve. And that's exactly what the president and the...
Why y'all be saying the dumbest shit? Why y'all be saying the dumbest ass shit? When the hell did Renee and Alex Pretty, when did they become thugs? When did they become ghetto thug? What the fuck are you talking about, Mikey Wiley? Nobody said anything about black, white, Hispanic thugs or not. What the fuck are you talking about? Y'all be saying any old thing just to be talking.
White House want to avoid. Again, we want to keep the government funded. We want the Department of Homeland Security, of course, to be up and operationalized and continuing as necessary to protect our homeland, to secure our border, to ensure the brave men and women of the United States Coast Guard are getting paid, the brave men and women of the United States Secret Service. What
the fuck does Pretty have to do with spitting on people? What the fuck does that have to do with them taking his life? Retard George Schneider. What does that have to do with them taking that man's life? What the fuck does that have to do with that? It don't matter whether he spit on anybody or not. That does not mean you end somebody's life. What are you talking about? You say the dumbest shit.
President, the vice president, and frankly, all of you in this building every day continue to receive the paychecks that they so well deserve. And so that's why the White House will engage in these talks with Democrats. But again, the president is never going to cave on this administration's core promise to deport illegal aliens from our country.
You said, Caroline, in your statement that there are certain proposals that Democrats are putting up that are non-starters. What are some of those non-starters?
There are a few, and it's a very good question, but I won't negotiate from the podium. I know the White House will be engaged in direct, serious talks with them. She don't want
to say what the demands from the Democrats are. The Democrats said, we are not going to fund the ICE bill if these people have masks on, if they don't have body cams on, if they don't have a certain rule or standard that they live by with according to them, which is where they don't kill American people. The Democrats put up a list of things that ICE has to do in order for them to be funded. And those are a couple of those things that they got to have masks. They gotta take their mask off. They got to have body cams, and they got to have 2 or 3 other things. Now she don't want to say what they are because they know that she know the American people are listening to her, and she probably gonna lie about what they said. No, they asked for specific things because the American people wanted it. They need to take their mask off. The only reason why they're wearing a mask is because they don't want to get outed, because they know for a fact that they trying to hurt and kill people. That's why. And this young lady lies like a rug every time she opens her mouth.
Democrats on this important matter. Natalie.
Thank you. In addition to launching Trump RX tonight, Trump has said that he wants to meet with insurance companies to lower healthcare costs. Do you have any update on when those meetings?
Yes, he does want to meet with insurance companies. That meeting will take place. I don't have an update on when it will be on the schedule, but the purpose of that meeting will be to continue to negotiate with these companies to ensure that more money is going back to the American consumer. And you're all going to see that on full display tonight at 7 o'clock with the formal launch of Trump RX. I'm telling you, this is going to be a very cool and unique event. So everybody.
That's the problem. We have brainwashed people in this country, brainwashed to the 10th degree. I bet you believed everything Noam said. If you believed everything Kristi Noem said, then you're the one that's brainwashed. Just think about it. Did I believe everything Kristi Noem said? Yes, I did. Then you're a zombie and you're brainwashed. You're the one that's brainwashed.
You really should tune in.
Can you clarify what the president said on the Diego Garcia deal? He said he didn't like it. Now again, he says he's for it.
He spoke with Prime Minister Starmer directly. He understands Prime Minister Starmer's position, and he's
You two twin goofy goofies do know you don't have anything to be here for, right? You do know that, right? Y'all do know that, right? Just because you say it don't mean it's true. That is how the world works. Just because people say things don't mean they're true. You goofy goofies believe everything people say to you. You believed everything she said in this meeting, which means you're the goofy. Try doing some discernment before you come back. Please do some discernment. Please think about the things that you don't remember, don't have any answers for. Goofy shit from the beginning. This is wild. You come in here and you want me to be the one that's wrong, and yet your girl is lying about the shit she's saying. This is wild. I do have a job, goofy. I have a job that's probably better than your job. Just dumb.
Supports it, but as the president reiterated in that statement, of course, the United States reserves the right to protect our assets. We still have a military base, of course, on the island of Diego Garcia, and so the president reiterated to the prime minister and to all of you that the United States will never waver, if necessary, in protecting our assets anywhere in the world, but including on Diego Garcia, and he supports the prime minister's decision. Elizabeth.
Just on that one, Karoline, can I ask you?
Said that he's now seeking.
John, I'll go to you after.
The president said he's now seeking $1 billion from Harvard, considerably more than before. What changed here, and how are negotiations going?
Well, look, this has been an ongoing negotiation and, frankly, a frustrating negotiation.
Of course he wants $1 billion from Harvard. Of course he wants it. The president is a scammer. He's a rich scammer. That's how he stayed rich. He was a scammer. He's a failed business person, and now he's a scammer of the American people. And I can prove it because every time you turn around, he's trying to sue somebody for money. Every time we had people who sue, see, even you all know that to be true. In your lifetime, when you hear people that sue people all the time, the first thing you think is they got to be scamming for money. Now, why is it that every time this president has sued the people that he sued, none of y'all looked at him and said, he a scammer? But every regular normal human being who would have sued every person that they tripped over, you would have called him a scammer. So why is it that y'all don't call this president a scammer? Because he sued everybody. He's a scammer.
For the president and the administration, because we want a deal. And it's very unfortunate that Harvard has dragged its feet in understanding they need to rectify the wrongs and the illegal behavior that took place on their campus over the course of.
No, somebody prove me wrong. Every time you talk to a human being or anybody on this planet, When somebody tell you, Kathy down the street, she sues everybody. Every time she get into an accident or she do something, she's suing everybody. And the first thing people gonna say is she a scammer. So when this president sues everybody he turns around and talks to that does him wrong, that says something about him wrong, he turns around and sues. Why is it that y'all don't look at him and say he a scammer? I wonder why. Oh my God, I wonder why. And that would be the first thing people would say. She a scammer, she a scammer, she a scammer. But you don't think nothing about this president suing every 5 minutes. He's a scammer. That's why he sues. He knows they're not going to pay him. He knows they're not going to go to court. So they're going to settle. So he's going to get the money. He's a scammer.
The past several years under the previous administration. And so the president wants a justified deal to correct for that criminal behavior that took place on their campus. He is now demanding $1 billion from Harvard University.
$1 billion. I have never met a more biggest scammer in the world. But we knew this president was a scammer. He's suing Harvard for billions of dollars. And that don't even cross the MAGA mind. The MAGA just be like, oh yeah, that's my president. Yeah. $1 billion. He's trying to sue Harvard for $1 billion on top of the $1 billion that he's suing the American people. $10 million from the IRS. There you go. $10 million from now. That's what. Tell me, am I lying? Side life, Sid life. Am I lying? The first thing you would say if somebody kept suing is they a scammer. Tell me I'm lying. Am I lying or am I telling the truth? Am I telling the truth? Everybody would look at him and say, that's a scammer. Thank you. This president sues everybody. He's a scammer.
And Secretary McMahon will be continuing to lead this negotiation and these talks. John.
Caroline, thank you. You mentioned some polling earlier that was very compelling on deportations.
On top of getting that money from Venezuela that he sent to Qatar, the American people ain't seen none of that money that he got for selling that Venezuelan oil. He ain't gave us none of that. Where that money at, y'all? Where that money at? Because this president is a scam. Even if we took just the things that he did, even if we took the suing, even if we took his suing everybody every 5 minutes, even if we did that, he sues somebody every other week. And in order for them to get out of it, they pay him the money. That's the scam. This president is a scammer. We don't even need to talk about nothing else. He's a scammer.
Rasmussen came out with a poll today, said 75% of Republicans want all illegals deported. It seems like the conversation has shifted again to focusing only on deporting illegal aliens who are criminals. Is the president still committed to deportations of the 20 million illegals that came here under Joe Biden?
Even they asking questions about the doggone deportation because she lied about that. That's wild.
Or are you starting to see that back?
Yes, and the president has always been committed to that, John. But we must prioritize, and the prioritization is on those tens of thousands of convicted criminals whom we know are still roaming our streets. ICE and Border Patrol and DHS have done a phenomenal job of removing tens of thousands of them. Actually, nearly 1 million people have been deported from our country over the past year, 2 million additional self-deportations. So nearly 3 million people have left the United States. But again, as you pointed out rightfully, Joe Biden and the Democrats allowed approximately 20 million people into our country illegally. So yes, of course, the president is committed to ensuring that America is and always will be a nation of laws.
Thank you, Caroline. Steve Bannon recently said, quote, "We're going to have ICE surround the polls come November." Is that something that the president is considering?
That's not something I've ever heard the president consider, no.
Guarantee to the American public that ICE will not be around polling locations or voting locations in November?
I can't guarantee that an ICE agent won't be around a polling location in November. I mean, that's frankly a very silly hypothetical question. But what I can tell you is I haven't heard the president discuss any formal plans to put ICE outside of polling locations. It's a disingenuous question.
Caroline, I had two questions regarding the DHS. The first one is one of the Democrats' main demands for DHS funding was to demask ICE agents. Is this something that the president is even considering?
Again, this is one of the specific points in the letter that went out by Senate Majority Leader Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. I won't negotiate the individual points from the podium, but it is obviously something the White House will be discussing with lawmakers on Capitol Hill in the coming days.
Is the administration concerned that the shakeup that we're seeing of DHS activity in Minneapolis could potentially embolden different obstructionist protesters around the country as they now have a playbook on how to get ICE out of their cities?
No, because what you saw yesterday with the drawdown of 700 agents only occurred because the condition that the president of the United States set for local states, local counties to turn over illegal aliens to ICE has been met. Vast majority of counties, nearly every single county now in Minnesota, has made an agreement to notify ICE when they are releasing an illegal criminal from their jail. This is a huge win for the administration. Again, it's a condition the president set out and has been met thanks to the tireless efforts of Mr. Homan. And as for the left-wing agitators who have been illegally obstructing ICE's immigration efforts, we are not letting that behavior go unnoticed or unpunished. In fact, just today, the Department of Homeland Security arrested this individual. He is a self-proclaimed Antifa member who has been threatening, doxing, harassing ICE. He called for the murder of federal.
Y'all see what they doing now? Y'all see what they doing now? Now they trying to go after American citizens who are just using their First Amendment rights to protest. They're using their First Amendment rights to protest. Some may go further than others, but most of them are following the law. Now they going after people who protest these kind of ICE raids. Listen to what she's saying. Listen. That's what they plan to do. Put these people in jail.
Law enforcement officers. He encouraged bloodshed in the streets of Minnesota. He proudly acclaimed affiliation with the domestic terrorist organization Antifa. And the Department of Justice, thanks to the great work of HSI and the FBI, was able to locate and arrest this individual today. So we are committed to enforcing our immigration laws. We want that level of cooperation from state and local officials. And if people are illegally obstructing our federal law enforcement operations, if they are targeting, doxing, harassing, and vilifying ICE agents, they are going to be held accountable, like this individual here, who again is a self-proclaimed member of Antifa. He is a domestic terrorist, and he will be held accountable in the United States.
Caroline, just to follow up on Garrett's earlier question, I mean, you've talked a lot about the SAVE Act. I know you spoke with the president about it before you came out here. The president has gone beyond that, though. He's talking about Republicans taking over elections, states are agents of the federal government. So just to be clear, is the president only calling on Congress to pass the SAVE Act, or does he want Republicans to go further than that before the midterm elections?
The president is calling on Republicans, again, and Democrats to pass the SAVE Act. I will reiterate, requirement for voter ID to vote. That should be something that no American should oppose. In fact, we know that the vast majority of Americans support it. Requiring proof of citizenship to register.
No, that's not how that goes. That's not how that goes.
To vote, which is not hard to do. We should be able to do that in this country. If you want to register to vote in the United States of America, you have to be a citizen in the United States of America.
And that's how they get rid of the voter rolls. And that's how they tank the election. Because the minute you sign that, the minute they put the Saving Act in essential into law, they're going to purge everybody on the voter rolls. That's what they plan to do. We ain't signing no SAVE Act, so you can piss on that.
And this piece of federal legislation will direct states to remove non-citizens from the voter rolls. I just had a conversation with the president about it.
Thank you, Karoline.
That's how they're gonna try to steal the election right there. Not by the SAVE Act, because ain't nobody signing the SAVE Act. They can piss on that.
I have two questions. Tariffs on South Korea. As you know, President Trump recently mentioned tariffs, increasing tariffs on South Korea. When will the 25% tariffs increasing on South Korea begin? Secondly, what impact will this have on national security?
Sure. I don't have a timeline for you on that, but I will make sure that our trade team here at the White House gets you an answer swiftly and promptly. John.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Yesterday, President Trump in the NBC interview said that it bothers me that somebody is going after Bill Clinton. That somebody is the House Oversight Chairman, James Comer, a Republican. Why is the president bothered that they're investigating Bill Clinton and his Epstein ties?
Look, I think that the president has respect for the former president of the United States, Bill Clinton. He said yesterday himself, they've shared a good relationship, and that's what he was reiterating in that NBC interview.
Go ahead, Caroline. Can you tell us a little bit about the agenda for tomorrow's talks with the Iranians? What will be the focus of the discussions?
Diplomacy moving forward. The president has obviously been quite clear in his demands of the Iranian regime. Zero nuclear capability is something he's been very explicit about, and he wants to see if a deal can be struck. And while these negotiations are taking place, I would remind the Iranian regime that the president has many options at his disposal, aside from diplomacy, as the commander-in-chief of the most powerful military in the history of the world. Washington Examiner, go ahead.
Lynchburg County, Virginia is the third local law enforcement is defying the blue government's demand that they no longer cooperate with ICE. There's a lot of red counties that are thumbing their nose at the blue government, blue states leadership, telling them not to cooperate with ICE. Will this administration support those counties in any way? Support them either through legal help or?
Absolutely. And if there is a county in this country, whether it's red or blue, that seeks to cooperate with the federal government to remove violent, illegal criminal aliens from their communities, this administration is here to help. You've heard the calls from the president himself on asking Democrats and Republicans across the country to call on the Trump administration to work with them, not against them, in the matter of public safety and securing our homeland. Thank you all very much. You'll hear directly from the president tonight at 7 o'clock. And I hope everybody has a good weekend. Happy Super Bowl weekend. The president has wisely chosen not to make a prediction in Sunday night's game. But as a native girl from New Hampshire, go Patriots. Thank you, guys.
Hold your mama. I heard about this last night on the Momentum. What the hell is going on? These things have just become.
Now recognize the ranking member of our committee, Mrs. Waters of California, for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you very much, Secretary Besson. In the FSOC annual report, you stressed the importance of economic growth to promote financial stability. While you noted many ways you plan to deregulate Wall Street and plant the seeds for another crisis, you said little about the harms of inflation. I find this odd as the president and you have finally began discussing in the media how the price of goods are way too high. Notably, you mentioned that tariffs may need to come down to lower costs for Americans. So I have a few questions about this. As a former hedge fund manager in 2004, and I don't want you to go into any long details about this, but did you write a letter to investors raising concerns about the impact of tariffs, writing that, quote, tariffs are inflationary? Did you say that at that time, yes or no?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a New York Times article that, agrees that you
New York
said that.
Times.
Then last summer, when you testified before a Senate committee, you said, and I quote, there is no inflation. Tariffs are not being passed on to consumers. You were quite definitive and even claimed that critics had, quote, tariff derangement syndrome. Well, those comments are at odds with the statement you made to investors that tariffs are inflationary. Again, I want to be clear, so just let me ask you.
Well, I don't really hear from Maxine Waters, but Maxine Waters has the facts and she has the receipts because he did lie about what he said. And the sheet, everybody has all the paperwork right there. He did lie about that. She's calling him on the carpet.
Are tariffs inflationary? Yes or no?
According to the San Francisco Federal Reserve, with 150 years of data,
Yes or no?
Tariffs do not cause inflation. San Francisco Federal
Well,
Reserve,
last November, as the Trump administration finally began to realize
150 years
that
of data.
affordability issues in America are not a hoax, you told Fox News that the government was going to reduce tariffs on goods like coffee and bananas, and that doing so would, quote, bring the prices down very quickly. Mr. Secretary, why was that announcement even necessary? If tariffs aren't inflationary, and as you and the president like to say, are paid for by the foreign country, a tariff on coffee or bananas shouldn't raise the price of either for American consumers. Well, that's the Trump logic, but that isn't reality. It did raise prices across the board, and you know it. I think you knew back in July also. The real question is, why would you even impose a tariff on a good that a country doesn't grow or make, as that would only serve to punish the American consumer? Now, as you know, this committee has taken a bipartisan approach to addressing another real affordability crisis. Housing. Rents are too high. There aren't enough houses. However, one clear reason that the housing crisis has grown worse is that you and the rest of the Trump administration levied tariffs on housing production goods like lumber and steel, as well as appliances. These tariffs will result in half.
Lumber is
reclaiming my time. You don't get to talk.
Lumber is at a
Reclaiming my
5-year
time.
low, Congresswoman.
Reclaiming my time.
Let's just have the facts, ma'am.
Reclaiming my time. Thank you. However, one clear reason that the housing crisis is going worse is that you and the rest of the Trump administration levied tariffs on housing production goods like lumber and steel, as I said, as well as appliances. These tariffs will result in 500,000 fewer homes built at a time when we need more homes built, not less. Trump single-handedly made housing more expensive.
So basically what she's saying is your tariffs fuck the American people, which they did. The tariffs have screwed the American people over. They weren't for the poor people anyway. They were for some goofy, I don't know what the hell it was. Some kind of campaign promise that this president seems to think that I'm going to stick it to other people because the American people want me to stick it to other people. And then by sticking it to other people, other foreign nationals, other foreign governments, he screwed the American people. So this is what it was. And she's telling Blessing that you went along with screwing the American people. You keep going along with this shit when you know this is wrong for this is wrong for America and it's wrong for the economy. You keep going along with it. So.
And once again, you know it, as Axios has reported that you were planning to lift tariffs on housing production goods. In addition, the unlawful campaign the Trump administration has waged with ICE and Border Patrol, terrorizing American communities, has also harmed home construction across America. So I ask you, Secretary Benson, will you be the voice of reason in the administration and urge Trump to stop waging a war on American consumers and on housing or affordability and putting the economy at risk? Yes or no? You don't have to explain.
Representative Waters,
will you be the voice? Will you be the voice? Will you be the voice? Will you be the voice of reason? Will you be the voice of reason?
A study
Yes or
from
no?
Wharton University
Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time.
Was a mass
Reclaiming my time.
unfettered immigration.
Mr. Chair, will you let him know that when I asked him
Time does belong to
the
the
housing
gentlewoman
stock.
of California.
10 and 20 million immigrants.
Can you
Look
shut
at the
him up?
housing stock of working Americans. And can you maintain some level of dignity?
Gentleman's time has expired.
No, my time has not expired.
Your time has expired. And the
The
gentleman,
gentleman took up my time. I think you should recognize that, Mr. Chair.
the gentlewoman's
took
time
up
has
my time.
expired. The gentlewoman's time has
Well,
expired.
if you wanna-
Chair, parliamentary
if you wanna
chair,
protect him,
the chair
Mr.
recognizes the vice chairman of the
Mr.
committee,
Chair.
If
Mr.
you
Heisinger.
want to
Parliamentary inquiry.
go right ahead, but I would not expect you to do that.
A fight in Congress. Yeah, they've been fighting all week. Everybody want to do kabuki theater. Everybody want to act up. Everybody want to be on camera. Everybody want their face in the camera. And none of you motherfuckers do anything for the middle class. I have no respect for either party. You do nothing for the middle class. Here's another.
I want to support my colleague's amendment. I want to actually also support my colleague from North Carolina, her amendment as well. And I associate myself with both of their remarks. Both of you from Vermont and North Carolina. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, let's talk about privacy and protection and safety. For the record, I do want to protect our athletes. I want to protect our boy athletes. I want to protect our girl athletes. I want to protect our girls. The president of the NCAA, and I know this was shared earlier, did tell Congress that there are less than 10, and not all of them are transgender women. There are less than 10 of the more than 500,000 NCAA athletes that this bill and these kinds of bills would be targeting. That is a small number. That is a small number to be using up so much of this committee's time when there are legitimate issues that are actually impacting someone's livelihood and their ability to be alive and to live safely. If we are going to talk about keeping predators out of our sports, I mean, the biggest predator is the NCAA mafia that is so focused on the bodies of our athletes and making revenue, getting more and more money. Scholarship's not a priority. Their mental health isn't a priority. Their physical health isn't a priority. Why don't we talk about how to rein that entity in? But we don't. We don't. Why don't we talk about, yes, the pedophiles who have preyed on our young athletes, our boy athletes and our girl athletes? Larry Nassar was a name that was brought up. Where is the horror and outrage and shock over what that individual did? At one point, we were debating a bill where adults would be responsible for checking the genitalia.
So this is when it gets really personal. They're having a fight over transgender. Apparently, they're trying to figure out whether they want to take something, take a transgender out of sports, go further than what the committee in sports has advocated. They want to go further than that by putting it in a law or something to that effect. Goofy shit about transgender. 10 people in sports, and then these goofy people get hysterical about it, and then they get other goofy people's hysterical about 10 transgender in sports. But she says you guys don't want to be outraged. You guys want to be outraged about the 10 people in 10 men in women's sports, but you don't want to be outraged about the Epstein women. This is her point.
Of young kids, like to make a determination of who was a boy or who was a girl. And I'm sorry, no one here who is a parent or is a godparent or an uncle or an aunt to a child would be okay hearing some story of some rando who's now been authorized to check the genitalia of their child because they just want to make sure of something. Get out of here. Get out of here. Go straight to jail. And if you're talking about, well, the women are the victims, the girls are the victims, let's fight for them. Yeah, okay. There's a list of young girls in those Epstein files. There is a young child, a minor, okay, in her journal, documentation of exploitation, sexual abuse, rape, and forced abortion, a survivor of Epstein. We're not talking about her. In this latest tranche, not the full release of the files. An 11 or 12 or 13-year-old girl, naked, tied up, spread with her legs open, on a man's knee, being burned with a magnifying glass. No one is sharing any outrage over that. I see your face. Exactly. That was my face too. Disgusting, egregious, horrific, a child. If that was your child, and you have a DOJ that is putting the names of these women out there to be attacked and abused and vilified, and no one has any outrage, but you're going to go up in arms and have all this drama about a transgender person. Most people, real talk, have never even met a transgender person. It's like a boogeyman. Like, talk about fight for these girls that are in these files that were abused.
I can't, she ain't said nothing that ain't a lie. Half y'all ain't never even met no damn transgender. And y'all worried about transgender in the bathroom, but ain't worried about the Epstein women, the women who, these rich motherfuckers who, rich people who done screwed over all of these young girls. You're more worried about 10 people in sports than you are those women who got screwed over by these men or women.
Burned up, raped. I yield back.
Gentlelady's time has expired. Further discussion, Ms. Hagman.
Just very briefly, I think that the Epstein files have now been mentioned upwards of 20 times during the course of this markup today, when what we're focusing on is whether we need to adopt a law to prevent men from participating in women's athletics. One person even made the accusation that there is this whole slew of powerful men who have been covering for Jeffrey Epstein and their abusers. Well, you want to know who actually ran cover for Epstein? Who actually covered for the abuser? Do you want to know who actually protected Jeffrey Epstein? Well, her name is Stacey Plaskett, and she is a Democrat representative from the Virgin Islands. So if you want to go in and look at the Epstein files, why don't you go ahead and do a word search for Stacey Plaskett, representative from the Virgin Islands, the woman who was Jeffrey Epstein's fixer. So if you want to talk about powerful men covering for Epstein, I think Stacey Plaskett has something as well to answer for being Jeffrey Epstein's fixer. So I would start on that side of the aisle to determine what kind of work she was doing for Mr. Epstein, because we know that she was his fixer and her name is in the Epstein files repeatedly. So I think that what we really need to focus on here is the bill at hand, which is whether men should be allowed to compete in women's sports. I think we need to get back and kind of focus what we're talking about here, and that's what it is. If you want to talk about Epstein, I think the first person we need to go to is Stacey Plaskett. If you want to talk about the issue at hand, let's focus on this. With that, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Further discussion, Mr. Raskin.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
She told your ass to sit down. Stop talking 2-point crazy. Yes, we get it. We get that they are children. We get all of that. We get all of that. The 10 trans people. We get all of that too. But we can do both things at the same time. We can investigate the women and all of the things that they say against all of these rich men, and we can investigate and do what we got to do with the 10 trans. It don't have to be an either or thing. Neither one of these parties represent the American people. That's why they all need to go. They all need to go. No, it ain't the libertarians. It ain't the libtards. It's the Republicans too. Don't come over here talking about the Republicans and the Democrat. It's both parties. Both parties ain't shit.
And I rise in support of the gentlelady's amendment. Let me just respond immediately to what we just heard. Donald Trump was, by Jeffrey Epstein's own account, Jeffrey Epstein's closest friend for more than a decade. I'm happy to yield to the gentle lady from Wyoming if she chooses to deny that or has some evidence to rebuff that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, you
I
don't
think that
accept any of the
there's absolutely
photographic?
No evidence of that whatsoever.
Have you ever seen a photograph of Jeffrey?
Who is your
I'm
attorney?
reclaiming my time,
Who is
Ms. Hagman.
Epstein's attorney?
Reclaiming my time, Ms. Hagman.
Who was Epstein's attorney?
I'm reclaiming my time.
The committee will come to order.
I'm very happy.
Mr. Raskin controls the time. Mr. Raskin.
There are tons of photographs of Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, which the gentlelady apparently chooses not to see with her own eyes. There's lots of video.
What's the last date of
There's
what?
lots of video evidence of it. They were best friends for more than a decade. Okay, you will find a lot of stuff out. If you are hinging your case on the idea that Donald Trump didn't know Jeffrey Epstein, you are in for a very serious public collapse if that's your argument. As this comes
Yield, that
forward,
wasn't my
you
argument.
cannot compare.
My argument is about Stacey Plaskett.
Excuse me, I'd like my time restored.
Well, you can't even compare the two. I don't even know why that would even be a comparison. There is no comparison. Donald Trump was friends with Epstein. Donald Trump knew what Epstein did. He either engaged in it, indulged in it, knew about it, approved of it. Either way it go, the president is guilty on all of those counts. Has nothing to do with Stacey Plaskett or whoever the hell that is. She's just a byproduct. She's just another byproduct. She's just another female. The females in this don't mean jack shit. They don't mean shit. It's the men. It's the men who paid for this kind of shit. Okay? The women are just byproducts of this stuff. This Stacey Plaskett means nothing. We know all of these men were in these files, and we know these men did all this goofy, weird ass shit. We just know it. You just know they did it.
Okay?
Committee will be in order. Mr. Raskin controls the time, and he has not yielded. Mr. Raskin.
Stacey Plaskett is barely a comma in the encyclopedia of Donald Trump's complicity and involvement with Jeffrey Epstein and his international.
These people know more than me. These people know more than me. So if these people say he was involved, then they know he was involved. I'll just take their word for it. I won't take y'all goofy word for it, because you MAGAs are zombies, because you believe anything Donald Trump say. No, I'm not too bright, but I do know one thing. When somebody tells me a lie, I know when they lying to me. Y'all apparently don't.
Human sex trafficking ring. Okay, and if you don't understand that and you don't believe it, then you've not done anything to familiarize yourself with the evidence, Ms. Hageman. I'm sorry. And I know that your predecessor in office, Ms. Cheney, would have done that. She was scrupulous and she was studious and she took the facts seriously, and she was not an ideologue who just fell for a cult leader. Okay?
Fell for a cult leader. We hear that.
Back to the matter at hand.
Hear that.
Presently, the
fell for a cult leader. Y'all don't come over to my channel trying to defend a pedophile. I ain't trying to hear it. Don't come over here and try to defend pedophiles. I ain't trying to hear it. That's the shittiest thing ever, when you have people coming over and defending a pedophile. Shitty ever. Okay? Don't come over here to defend a pedophile. There you go. Don't do that.
Olympic Committee has already made the decision, I think, in more than half of the sports. So it's already decided, for example, that with respect to boxing, with respect to rugby, with respect to swimming, with respect to tennis, and with respect to volleyball.
Y'all sound goofy as hell. Shut your ass up. Don't come over here trying to defend a pedophile. You sound goofy as hell, half of y'all. This shit just defies logic for you to even say it. Trump never went to the island. Stop saying dumb shit. Please stop doing that, because none of y'all can defend nothing. You can't defend nothing. We hate pedophiles, yet and still your president was best friends with one. Are you serious? Are you serious? Y'all just shut up. I don't want to hear about people defending pedophiles. I don't want you here defending a president when he was knee deep in the shit. I don't want to hear about you defending the president.
Ball, as I understand it, that all of these are limited to the sex assigned at birth. That's already been decided. So we are intervening now as the United States Congress to make a decision about a miscellaneous category of a handful of other sports, which have not even been mentioned by our colleagues, which appear to still be open to transgender athletes. Here are the ones that I see them are skateboarding, skiing and snowboarding, table tennis, ping pong, and then ultimate frisbee. Now, perhaps someone over there can explain why, when American citizens are being shot in the face by federal agents.
Y'all sound dumb as hell. Didn't you? This is the dumbest shit ever. I don't know who just said it. It was some shit I just read. That's dumb as hell. I defend Clinton and Biden. God only knows where you get that from. God only knows where you get that from. You voted for him, so you're a pedophile lover. Are you retarded, Troy? Did you vote for Donald Trump, retard? Just think about what you just wrote. Y'all you stand for nothing. Y'all stand for nothing.
And the entire heartland of the country is in an uproar because of Donald Trump's private paramilitary army that nobody on the other side seems to want to talk about. We should be talking about whether or not transgender girls or women should be able to participate in ultimate frisbee competitions. Because that's really what we're talking about today. But they sure would much rather be talking about that than anything else. They don't want to talk about what's really in the Epstein files. I'm surprised, I'm stunned, I'm astonished, I'm flabbergasted by Ms. Hageman, who seems to go way beyond anything else I've heard from other Republicans. She seems to be in open denial that Donald Trump and Melania Trump had anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein. That's astonishing to me. I think she's setting herself for a huge public relations fall by going that far. Oh, here's some photographs, Ms. Hageman. How do you see about those? You think those are created by artificial?
No, those are illusions. those are illusions. That's the rabbit hole shit that MAGA and them don't see. You see all them pictures of Epstein and Donald Trump and Melania? No, he didn't know none of them. He didn't know none of them people. Donald Trump ain't in them photos. Y'all got the wrong photos. That's Photoshop. That's AI. That's AI. They wasn't good friends. Donald Trump and Epstein wasn't no good friends. Y'all shut y'all dumb ass up. You got a best friend and you got your best friend and you don't know what your best friend was doing? Shut y'all ass up. Every one of y'all got best friends and you know exactly what your best friend been doing if you best friends with him for 10 damn years. Shut your ass up. Donald Trump knew exactly what his best friend was doing. And he indulged in it just like his best friend. Shut your ass up. Everybody here got a best friend, and you know exactly what your best friend did if you've been friends with him for 10, 15 years. Shut your lying ass up. Every time somebody turn around and tell you Donald Trump, that's Donald Trump's best friend. He knew what the fuck his best friend was doing. Shut your ass up. Y'all just wild. You're just saying dumb shit. Everybody on this planet has had a best friend, and you know exactly what your best friend has done. Most of y'all know what your best friend has done. And if Donald Trump was best friends with Epstein, like everybody said they were, then he know exactly what his friend was doing. Shut y'all's ass up.
Intelligence? You got any problem with any of those pictures of your hero with Jeffrey Epstein, his closest friend for more than a decade? Thank you for bringing forth the photographic evidence. Keep that up.
And we ain't got no pictures of it either, goofy. We got pictures of it right there. Don't you see the pictures? They hung out. They partied. They did all those damn things. It ain't no most. All. This is an all example right here. This is a friend knew everything his friend knew. Y'all wild. Somebody put the evidence right in your face and you turn around and say, no, Mr. President. No, we don't see you in them pictures. Them pictures is AI. Them libertards is lying about you. Them ain't real pictures.
For a while, apparently some people haven't seen those pictures. They're very happy to talk about Stacey Plaskett, the non-voting delegate from the Virgin Islands, or Bill Clinton. And anybody who was involved in any crime should be punished for it, whether they're Democrat, Republican, Independent. I'll say it right now. Will Ms. Hageman, the very distinguished general lady from Wyoming, say that? Will she say that Republicans should be punished for their crimes if they were complicit in a $1 billion international child sex trafficking ring? I don't think so. I don't think she'll say it. Not if it's Donald Trump. It's all about Donald Trump following him off into a path of oblivion. I yield back.
Gentleman's time has expired. Is there further discussion? Mr. Moore.
I yield to the gentlelady from Wyoming.
Just very briefly, it clearly hit a nerve, didn't I, Mr. Raskin?
Oh, very much so,
I
because
think
you
that-
don't
I
tell the
think that it's
truth.
very obvious.
And that hits a huge
I
nerve.
think that it's very obvious.
Ms.
I think
Hageman,
it's
I'll
very
interrupt her the
obvious.
same number of times she interrupted me, Mr. Chairman.
Controls the time and is not yielded.
Mr. Chairman, hold on. The ranking member just accused the gentlelady of lying. And I don't.
Never use that word. Never
He
use
said-
that
didn't
word.
tell- Didn't he say about not telling the truth?
The committee will be in order. Mr.
That was the standard established earlier.
We don't have to want anything to be true. Your goofy ass president said he was going to run on releasing the Epstein file. Now that the Epstein files is coming out, you goofy ass MAGA people don't want to believe what you see before your lying ass eye. No, Your Honor. I can't believe my lying ass eyes. I can't believe none of that. All the evidence to the contrary. No, he was outside the room with the girl. Him and the girl was the only two people on the island. But we didn't come back for 2 days. But they didn't do anything. That's wild. That's wild. To evidence, to all that evidence that they were best friends. And then the first thing y'all try to dispute is the fact that he was best friends with Epstein. He was best friends with Epstein for 10 plus years. Best friends with Epstein for 10 plus years. Yes, he did run on them files. And we got pictures of him on top of the fact that the first lady was a mail order. The first lady got introduced to Donald Trump through Epstein. Wow. Through Epstein. Y'all think she don't know what Epstein was doing? Y'all really think Melania didn't know what Epstein and Donald Trump was doing? Nobody knew. He didn't know. He wasn't involved with it at all. He don't know nothing. Y'all want a smoking gun, but y'all believe that there's voter fraud in our election. Y'all believe that Joe Biden slept with his daughter, but y'all ain't got no evidence. Y'all believe that, what's his name? Hunter Biden had some bullshit on his laptop without no evidence. Y'all believe everything else with no evidence. Y'all so convinced about everything else, but you can't believe this one thing when we got pictures and videotape and all that other shit. Shut y'all's ass up. That's wild. You believe everything else about Biden, about Hunter, about everybody else. You believe absolutely everything. The election was stolen. Y'all lied about Trump. Trump don't never lie. Blah, blah, blah. Y'all believe everything this fucking president and everything about this president people say is wrong is a lie. But when your ass get presented with the facts about Epstein and him being friends and blah, 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 you motherfuckers don't want to believe it. And that's called zombie behavior. That's what we call zombie behavior. And you all exhibit zombie behavior.
Today, Mr. Roy, you weren't here.
The committee will be in order. Does Mr. Roy make a point of order?
May I inquire as to whether the gentleman with the ranking member accused the gentlelady of not telling the truth? I heard something to that effect that I might have misheard.
If the gentlelady was denying that Donald Trump knew Jeffrey Epstein, that would not be a truth that I could endorse in the world of objective reality.
This is my time. I never made that claim.
I'll yield back for now, Mr. Chairman.
Everybody calm down here, okay? The committee will be in order. I would remind members to direct their comments to the chair. The gentleman will continue in order. Oh, pardon me, gentlelady will continue in order.
Thank you. The point of this is that nobody has made that claim, yet in order to try to deflect attention from the fact that Stacey Plaskett was Jeffrey Epstein's fixer, the ranking member has become hysterical over the fact that there are published photographs of Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein. Nobody on this side has ever claimed otherwise or that they did not know each other. They
Y'all MAGA idiots keep saying they wasn't friends. The MAGA idiots keep saying they wasn't friends. Y'all know they were friends. All y'all Republicans and y'all Democrats know they were friends. They know they friends. How y'all MAGA goofies don't know they was friends? Why y'all keep denying that they were friends? And these people right here who know Epstein and Trump better than anybody know for a fact that they was friends. Y'all goofy. They was good friends. And good friends know what good friends do.
absolutely did. But Donald Trump was not the attorney or the fixer for Jeffrey Epstein. Stacey Plaskett was. So the point that I am making is when you have accusations being made by the other side about powerful men covering up for Jeffrey Epstein, I think the very first person you need to look to is Stacey Plaskett, a powerful woman via New York and the Virgin Islands. That was the point. That doesn't have anything to do with Donald Trump. That has to do with whether Stacey Plaskett is associated with Jeffrey Epstein, and she clearly is, as is shown by the records. So if you are concerned about powerful people covering up for Jeffrey Epstein, perhaps you need to visit with Stacey Plaskett first. That was the point, Mr. Raskin, and I don't think there's anything further to say. I yield back.
Yeah, there ain't nothing to say. It ain't nothing to say. Because we know what the truth is, that they were friends, and nobody can dispute that. As much as MAGA want to dispute that, can't nobody dispute that. We got another fight in Congress.
As our nation's treasurer, I'm sure you also know that a foreign-linked investment firm tied to the United Arab Emirates government quietly bought about half of the Trump family's crypto company, World Liberty Financial. And at the very same time, the president of the United States was dealing with that country on foreign policy.
And what did you just say? Did you just say that he stopped being friends once he knew that he was trafficking women? Can anybody tell me how long Epstein was trafficking women and doing all those goofy things? First of all, why don't y'all research what Jeffrey Epstein did in his first career? Jeffrey Epstein was a teacher. He became a teacher at a girls' private high school or grade school or something to that effect. He became a teacher. Even though he lacked a degree, they gave him the job. And then why was he dismissed? Because he was fooling or he did something inappropriate with young girls at that school. And soon after, I don't know, a couple of years after, a year or two after, he became an investment person in New York and then became friends with Donald Trump. Okay? And then they were friends for a long time. So he had proclivities towards young girls when he was starting out as a teacher. So Donald Trump knew that he was a groomer, knew he fooled with young girls. And all between this time, Epstein acquired these island retreats. Donald Trump is on the plane at least 5, 6, 7, 8 times. The reason why he's not on the plane to go to Epstein's island is because Epstein had 2 other properties here in the United States that weren't on the island. So he didn't need to go to the island for everything. He could just go to one of the places at Epstein's house here. So it doesn't matter whether he was on the plane 3, 4, 10, 20 times. He indulged in the same things that Epstein indulged in. Go look up those little facts. Epstein has always been a pedo from the beginning, and Donald Trump knew he was a pedo from the beginning. And somehow this man seemed to have acquired all of this money within a short amount of period of time, and they stopped, according to somebody, he stopped being friends in 2006. How old is Epstein? How old was Epstein in 2006? Wasn't Epstein, how old was he? Maybe around 42 maybe in 2006? Y'all stop it.
All you have to ask
The
is yes or no.
OCC is an independent entity, and I would know, Congressman.
So that, I take that as a no. I'm asking you to do your responsibility as Secretary of the Treasury.
Into a Venezuelan.
You do not.
Mr. Makes.
Will you?
Time has expired. You
Look,
cannot erase what you did in 2006.
He's the one that went past your time, Mr. Chairman.
No, and
he did not answer my question.
He had 6 seconds left to try to answer your question, and the
It was a yes or no. It was a yes or no answer. I asked him, will he? No, was
gentleman,
yes
the
or
chair
no?
recognizes
OCC is
the
an
gentleman.
independent-
Stop covering for the president.
Yeah, well,
Stop being his flunky. Stop
Why don't you
covering
tell
for
your
the
secretary
president.
about
Don't be a
that?
flunky. Work for the American
Secretary,
people.
Mr. Makes.
Trip to
Venezuela.
Makes. Work for the American people.
And maybe
Don't
it's
be
going-
a
maybe it's
cover-up
going to-
for a mob.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from New York, ranking member of our Foreign Affairs Committee. Mr. Meeks, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Bassett, if I'm not mistaken, you were working in the financial service industry during the late 1980s, correct?
I was.
Thank you. And well, I'm wondering, do you recall or you're knowledgeable of the Keating 5 scandal back then?
Yes, sir. And I will point out that I was.
I don't want to.
No. I will point out that
Limited time. I have limited time.
I identified.
The gentleman is from the secretary. Is the gentleman from New York's time.
So I just want to make sure that everyone knows who doesn't know that the Keating 5 scandal involved 5 U.S. senators accused of pressuring the Federal Home Loan Bank Board to expedite and give more consideration to the case of Charles Keating Jr., who ran the California-based Lincoln Savings and Loans. It led to a 14-month investigation unveiling how 5 U.S. senators and staff ended up with more than $1 million in contributions, 4 trips to the Bahamas, and all expenses paid stays at resort hotels. Following the scandal, the industry saw sweeping regulatory changes that was launched by then President George H.W. Bush. Now, Mr. Secretary, I'm sure you can agree conflicts of interest and improper influence by U.S. elected officials over bank regulators weaken supervisory independence and ultimately impose massive losses on consumers and taxpayers. I think that we can all agree upon that. And as we know, the basic lessons from the post-Keating reforms still applies today when the Office of the Comptroller of Currency, the OCC, deciding to get a bank charter. I think we can stimulate that. Now, Mr. Bassett, as our nation's treasurer, I'm sure you also know that a foreign-linked investment firm tied to the United Arab Emirates government quietly bought about half of the Trump family's crypto company, World Liberty Financial. And at the very same time, the President of the United States was dealing with that country on foreign policy. Now, Eric Trump, the president's son and co-founder of World Liberty Financial, said, and I quote, "I'm not going to get into who the investors are, but I've got some pretty meaningful investors," end of quote. Lack of transparency. And it didn't end there. When Trump fans brought the tokens, they thought they were getting the deal of a century. But what they didn't know was that only Trump and his sons had the sole power to decide who can sell the token and when.
See, and that's the problem. We have an issue. Now we have an issue with the president selling things he's not supposed to be selling, enriching himself, not necessarily helping the American people. See, y'all got to listen to all of the things that this president has done we would consider impeachable. There's a lot of things he's done that are impeachable offenses. And with us having the kind of government that we have, with the Republicans being the way they are, who are sycophants to the president, we would never get a person like this out of office who isn't supposed to be in office. This person is not fit to be the president because he doesn't think in terms of helping the American people. He only thinks in terms of enriching himself, which is what this representative is saying. Shoot.
Today, the price of the token has fallen over 50%, and the Trump fans who bought the token are now begging to get out.
Of course they're begging to get out. It was a rug pull. A lot of you, it was a rug pull. The president rug pulled y'all's ass. He made you buy the crypto coin, and now the crypto coin is falling like it fell off a cliff. It's no good. It was never any good. I don't know how those things work, but I do know whatever goofy bought the coin, the crypto coin, you goofy, and you got scammed. But then again, this is a scammer president. Every time a person sues 10, 20 people a year, they're scamming. This president is a scammer. And everybody would say that if they would be honest with themselves. If I told you I sued 3, 4, 5 different people in the last year, the first thing that would run across their mind is you're a scammer. This president is a scammer. And he's always been a scammer. Even in his adult life, he was a scammer.
Now, I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. You can see it for yourself on the World Liberty Financial Discussion Forum. Yeah, yourself, Mr. Secretary. So this is no longer just about a shady crypto deal or a possible gift. When a foreign linked investor is putting hundreds of millions of dollars into a company controlled by the president's family, and at the same time, this president is conducting foreign policy with that country.
Yes, because the president is a scammer. He's a scammer. And you don't break it down like that. When you break it down like that, then you understand that this president has done a lot of scamming. This president made $1.4 billion in the year since he's been the president. Only somebody who's been scamming and thieving and doing deals behind the scenes would have this kind of money, would come up like this. And this is the way that it is. It is what it is. We knew he was a scammer before he became president. We knew he was a scammer when he did what he did right before he became president. So, I mean, it's not nothing new. Most people don't get it. Most MAGA people don't get it. The rest of us get it. That's why we're trying to get him out of the White House, because he's not doing anything for the regular American average day people. He's doing illegal things for himself, and he's scamming himself, scamming for himself.
You know what that creates? It creates a national security concern. So I'm not going to ask much of you, Mr. Secretary. I just want to know whether you will commit today to pause and heighten the scrutiny of any bank charter or licensing application at the OCC connected to the World Liberty Financial until all of these conflicts of interest and foreign influence reviews are completed and shared with the United States Congress. All I need to know is, will you halt it and do a complete investigation and scrutiny of this licensing application? Oh yeah, the answer is yes or no.
No, Congressman.
All you have to answer
the
is yes or
OCC
no.
is an independent entity, and I would know, Congressman.
so I take that as a no.
You traveled to Venezuela to lobby
I take that as a no.
on behalf of
I
your
take that
donors,
as a
on
no.
behalf of your
You
donors.
do not want to answer.
See, these are so disrespectful, it doesn't make sense. We pulled you into a hearing, and what you do is you come and you attack the people who ask you questions. That this is not a hearing in which you attack me. This is a hearing in which you answer to the American people. You need to think in terms of this being questions asked by the American people, not questions asked because I'm trying to hate on you. I'm asking you questions as a American citizen. None of these people who perform in front of this camera are for the American people. None of them perform American people. No, Lucifer, your president has put us on a goofy track and a goofy stage. Your president has put us there. Okay. Nobody has put us on this track. This is the most divisive, un-American president of our lifetime. And he definitely will not be going down as the best president. There's no way in hell that would ever occur. This president has done more damage to the United States than any other president in recent history. Biden, you can at least say Biden had a terrible time when it came to the economy. But you could look at Biden and say, hey, you were a terrible president for the economy. I'll even grant you that. Even though I don't believe it, I'll grant you that. But this president, for the culture of the country, for the morale of the country, for the division of the country, this president has been the worst president that could have ever come along for the American people. Right when we needed somebody to have a steady hand, to have a decent demeanor, to win respect around the world, this degenerate comes along and then he makes us look goofy on the world stage. We can't trust him because he doesn't do anything for the American people. He hasn't done one thing for the American people. And now we have to deal with him getting money from foreign investors, crashing the election process. He's doing too much.
That question.
110
I take that as a no.
For a $7 billion.
I'm asking you to do your responsibility as Secretary of the Treasury.
Into a Venezuela.
You do not.
Mr. Meeks,
time
has expired.
You cannot erase what you did in 2006.
He's the one that went past your time, Mr. Chairman.
No, and
he did not answer my question, and he wouldn't pass the time.
He had 6 seconds left to try to answer your question, and it
was a yes or no. It was a yes or no answer. I asked him, will he? No, was
gentleman,
yes or no.
Recognizes the gentleman.
Stop covering for the president. Stop being his flunky.
And
gentlemen,
he's talking to me. I'm responding back to him.
2006 trip to Venezuela.
Stop covering for the president. Don't be a flunky. Work for the American people.
Mr. Meeks,
trip to Venezuela.
Work for the American people. Don't be a cover-up for a mob.
Maybe you're going to see your friend Nicholas Maduro in Brooklyn
is not
prison.
recognized. Mr. Bessent, please.
That's the goofy logic of the MAGA crowd. I'm telling you, you goofy MAGA crowd. You're goofy if you think we have respect around the world. You're goofy if you think they respect us around the world. I can play you the video in which they're laughing about the president around the world, where they're having debate as to whether they're going to let the president go along, or whether they're going to go along with the tariffs, or they're going to put tariffs on the United States, because it just defies logic that he would even do so. You got to be in a bubble. You got to be in a bubble if you don't see that this is not respect around the world. It's not me saying it, it's other countries saying it. In that meeting that these other countries had, Brexit meeting, or whatever that meeting was, it was a UK meeting, all they kept saying is America needs to wake up. You Americans need to wake up. Why would they be telling us to wake up if they respected the president, if they respected what he was doing? Because they didn't. And this was a room full of a whole bunch of UN, Norway, Greenland, all of those places saying America needs to wake up. So no, we're not respected around the world. This president has devalued the American dollar and everything else. Y'all need to wake up. Stop it.
Please, I recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Sessions. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Secretary, welcome to the Financial Services Committee. I'm delighted that you're here. Mr. Secretary, we've talked with you about a broad range of things, not necessarily related to FSOC and your chairmanship there, but I would like to, if I can, talk with you something about the word public confidence. And the word public confidence does have a lot to do with the financial stability of the country. There are reports in social media that have shown, and I don't want to put you in a position where you cannot answer this because of anything that you've learned in Minnesota with the $9 billion worth of fraud. But there are social media accounts that show people who are at a Minneapolis airport with baggage full of up to $1 million cash attempting to exit the country. And I have engaged several people who have worked at Treasury to ask their opinion about that. Not the relationship between how they got the money, but just that it's going out of the country and following the law. Can you tell us or give this committee your viewpoints about people not using some other system, but taking cash up to $1 million through our airports to leave the country?
Yes, so that is a DHS TSA function. We, having learned of this, we are attempting to integrate our FinCEN better with those forms. What we are trying to do at Treasury via FinCEN is to keep money from being wired out of the country through what are called money service businesses. So we have issued a geographic targeting order, bringing down the amount of reporting to $300, and also asking on the form, if someone is wiring money out of the country, are you receiving public benefits?
These are all very important issues. And as you did talk about, Department of Homeland Security does have a role in this. I would suggest to you that Treasury probably has a philosophy about the role of the American dollar in world economy, the stability that we have, the use of wanting to make sure that the dollar remains that dominant use. But I would tell you that I will be very interested if you have a working group on this, of us making ourselves aware, because it is an issue to people who simply see social media.
We look forward to working with you on that, Congressman.
Thank you, Secretary. Mr. Secretary, as you have alluded to, and as the discussion here has been about banks, community banks, the ability that they have, you recognize, because you spoke directly to it, about the stress that they are placed under as opposed to bigger banks. Could you please talk to us about what you believe the role is of home ownership, which is increasingly a part of the political discussion and debate and discussions for members of Congress back home of solving our home ownership problem. And you've got almost a minute, boy, I'm giving you a lot of time, and interest rates as they correspond to people being able to buy their own homes.
Good. Well, thank you. And I would note that I was also a banks and financial institutions analyst for 35 years and was instrumental in working with the government to bring down American Continental and Sun State savings and loans, which were the beneficiaries of the Keating Five. Getting small banks lending again, we need to get them back into the mortgage market. No one knows their communities like small banks. And that having moved into the larger system, the strength and breadth of the U.S. mortgage market is choice. And we have lost the choice in the small banks. And I think we need to get them back into the housing lending business. And we're seeing, it's a tragedy that the average first-time home buyer is now 40 years old. 40 years old.
Well, I had a discussion last night with the realtors about their importance in this process too. So I'd like to once again make sure we see community banks and realtors and home builders all have an interest in this. I want to thank the gentleman.
Un momento. Wait a minute. Hold on. Stop that screen. This is an interesting. Well, these are exchanges that we had this week that were interesting that they actually said. People.
Hello, Mr. Secretary. I'm over here. How are you?
Good.
Mr. Secretary, as you're also head of the IRS, we've had some tough ice storms. Would you and your colleagues consider an extension on allowing extension to allow people to file taxes a little bit later?
Senator, I've been in touch with the governor of the great state of Louisiana, and he and I and my staff are working on that. It is traditional to grant extensions for events like this.
Good. If Canada came to the United States, well, let me preface this by saying I understand that tariffs have a number of purposes, but the foremost reason for tariffs is to try to stop other countries from taking advantage of us through either their tariffs or trade barriers. If Canada, for example, came to the United States and said, we're going to zero tariffs in the United States. All of them are off on our end. Would you, Mr. President, speaking to our president, go to zero tariffs and then just let Canadian companies and American companies compete on a level playing field?
Absolutely not. As we saw last week, when 2 weeks ago, when Prime Minister Carney went to China, he lowered tariffs on Chinese EVs from 100% to 6%. U.S. has 100% tariff on Chinese EVs. We couldn't let our northern border be used as a way for Chinese EVs to come into the U.S.
Right. Okay. I'm going to lead you a little bit because Senator Scott is a she-bear when it comes to time. The poverty rate, according to the Census Bureau, is 11%, isn't it, in America?
I'll take it. I'll take your word, Senator.
And that's the Census Bureau defines poverty, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Is it not true that the Census Bureau, in defining poverty and determining that our poverty rate is 11% or 36 million Americans, which makes us look bad, only will consider direct cash payments from the federal government to poor people, such as, let's say, SSI payments or TANF payments?
Correct.
Okay. And isn't it true that the Census Bureau, in determining poverty, doesn't include non-cash payments? It doesn't include Medicaid or food stamps or housing subsidies or refundable tax credits. Isn't that true?
That is correct, Senator.
Yeah. Now, let me give you an example. Mom, 2 kids, poverty level for her and her kids is $27,000. Mom works part-time. She makes $11,000. According to our Census Bureau, she's poor. She's below the poverty line. Right. But she also receives, she works, I recall I said, makes $11,000 a year. She receives $4,100 in refundable earned income tax credits, $3,400 in refundable child tax credits, which means she gets a check, $9,200 in food stamps,
Right.
$9,500 in housing subsidies, $900 in utility bill subsidies, $16,000 in Medicaid, $31,000 a year in free school lunches, and $6,000 in TANF payments. If you add that up,
damn, what the hell? Damn, he's saying all them people getting over like that. All those people getting over like that. TANF, food, housing, subsidies, all that stuff. I ain't never met nobody who had all of that stuff. Maybe 1 or 2 things, but they make too much money. And she make $27,000 a year. Come on now. Wait a minute. That's the line of poverty. Well, it depends on how many. Well,
that's $64,100 a year.
And she got 3 people she got to take care of, her and 2 kids. And that's $63,000. Wait a minute. Yeah, wait a minute. Hold up. Where is this $63,000 coming from? $63,000 ain't a bad amount, but you ain't living high on the hog. Why we ain't living high on the hog? That's wild. So what are you saying? That she shouldn't be getting none of that because she living high on the hog? Ain't nobody making no damn money.
According to math.
I'll believe your arithmetic, Senator.
Okay. But using the Census Bureau's definition of poor, they don't include all these payments. They just include her income and the TANF payment. Does that make sense to you?
No, sir. And you should bring that up with the Commerce Department.
I know, but you've got influence. I know how close you and the Commerce Secretary are. I'm hoping you could bring it up with somebody above.
The president says we're opposites and I'm tall.
I'm not going to comment on that. Would you talk to the president about this? If you include all cash and non-cash payments, the poverty rate in America is 1%.
That's a good point to end on.
Thank you,
I
Senator.
told you he was a she-bear.
That still don't mean she ain't poor. Hold on. I got another one. I got conflicts that are going on in the United States. Things that are going on. Hold on. Un momento. Here we go. Another fight we had.
When you sent evidence to him. So my question is, have you shown Secretary Kennedy the existing evidence that shows that vaccines do not cause autism? Please talk into the mic a little bit closer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question, Senator. I mean, and I've said that publicly and I've said that privately.
Please say it again loudly and clearly so parents all over this country can hear you. Please say it again.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way to address the measles epidemic in this country is by vaccinating our children with measles.
Thank you very much.
For several years by the public.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I don't have a lot of time. You're right. There is deep mistrust. Do you think that deep mistrust now has something to do when you have an organization like the American Medical Association?
2024, there was a study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association that said that only about 40% of patients still trust their doctor. Chairman Cassidy, Ranking Member Sanders, and distinguished members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to discuss modernization of the National Institute of Health. I'm honored to lead the NIH, where research investments have supported major advances in human health and disease over decades. The chronic disease crisis facing the American people is severe, with unacceptably high rates of diabetes, heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's disease, and so many other conditions. Life expectancy for Americans is barely above 2010 levels. The solution to this problem is to modernize the NIH to fulfill its mission of investing in research that improves the health and longevity of Americans. Some NIH investments have a track record of success. For example, just this year, decades-long work of NIH-supported researchers culminated in not just one, but 2 new gene therapies to cure sickle cell anemia. When I was in medical school, learning about the sickle cell disease, I never expected to see a cure in my lifetime, and yet here we are, thanks to NIH-supported research. NIH-funded researchers built on this gene editing technology to deliver personalized treatment to an infant with rare, previously fatal disease. You may have heard of baby KJ. The treatment was supported by the NIH Common Fund, which with Senator Cassidy you mentioned, the Common Fund Somatic Cell Genome Editing Program. But despite these incredible successes, we can do more and we can do better. And as director, one of my top priorities is to rebuild public trust in the NIH. Meaningful reforms that increase transparency, strengthen scientific rigor, and ensure accountability are necessary to bolster the NIH's ability to meet America's current and future public health needs. The NIH is a large and complex organization operating in a rapidly changing technological environment that is accelerating discovery at an unprecedented pace. As science itself evolves, so too must the structures that support it. Under my leadership, reform is already underway at the NIH. We are consolidating and restructuring core functions within the Office of the Director to enhance coordination and improve efficiency and strengthen accountability. For instance, we've centralized peer review, which is the basic and most important function of evaluating scientific grants. This consolidation is projected to save millions by eliminating duplication while ensuring more consistent, agnostic, rigorous scientific evaluations of research applications. A new office within the Office of the Director will support rigorous analysis of the NIH research portfolio with the mission of coordinating NIH investments to solve the replication crisis in biomedical sciences, leading to greater impact of our scientific investments on population health.
Well, he's there to have a conversation with the Senate committee regarding vaccines and whatnot. So he's going to directly contradict what RFK has been saying, but we're going to listen to RFK.
In concrete terms, I expect these efforts will deliver greater value for every taxpayer dollar the NIH is entrusted with. Through our new unified funding strategy, the NIH is empowered to make research portfolio decisions that are better aligned with the strategic priorities of the institutes and to take advantage of research opportunities in every field of biomedicine and the urgent health needs that our country is facing. To improve public—
That's the whole point. The whole point is you got an idiot leading the Health and Human Services Department. You got that idiot. I don't know how much of an idiot he is. I'm just saying I'm going by records and people out here saying he is. Who knows if he is or he's not? We don't know.
Health, scientific discoveries must be translated into more effective interventions. The NIH is investing in new human-based models and emerging technologies to improve the translatability of research into human health and responsibly reduce animal research where scientifically appropriate. The NIH is actively engaging with the White House and other federal partners to develop and implement a policy for increased oversight of dangerous gain-of-function research. This is a necessary and long overdue step to ensure that NIH-funded research does not lead to significant adverse social consequences. In addition to the reforms underway, we're pursuing additional opportunities to steward taxpayer dollars responsibly and keep pace with a rapidly evolving scientific landscape. We need to invest in and support young scientists to build and retain the brightest biomedical workforce in the world. We also need to move the needle and incentivize high-risk, high-reward research. Research portfolios at the NIH under my leadership will be judged by their success at curing disease, improving population health, and creating fundamental scientific breakthroughs, rather than simply how many scientific papers each project yields. Serving alongside the extraordinary science of the NIH and across the country, as well as the—
So why do they call him an idiot, Brian Reedy? If he studied it all his life, and he got all the answers. Why did they call him an idiot? Why do a lot of people call him idiot and he don't know what he's talking about? There's got to be some truth there somewhere. There's smoke, there's fire.
Dedicated colleagues of the NIH, it's a privilege in my professional life. I'm committed to restoring trust in the NIH and building a more accountable, transparent agency that leads to discoveries that enable Americans to live longer, healthier lives. Congress is an essential partner in these efforts. And I want to thank you for your time today, and I look forward to your ideas and questions.
Dr. Bracciaria, according to the American Medical Association, which represents over 270,000 doctors, quote, an abundance of evidence from decades of scientific studies shows no link between vaccines and autism, end quote. That includes over a dozen rigorous scientific studies involving hundreds of thousands of children. Last week, you said, quote, the caricature, end quote, of Secretary Kennedy you've seen, quote, in the press is just totally unfair. You have seen him change his mind, you said, when you sent evidence to him. So my question is, have you shown Secretary Kennedy the existing evidence that shows that vaccines do not cause autism? What steps are you taking to make sure that our nation's health policy is guided by scientists and not conspiracy theorists?
Well, Senator,
Please talk into the mic a little bit closer.
Oh, I'm sorry, Senator.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question, Senator. I mean, I'm absolutely convinced that, for instance, the measles epidemic that we're seeing currently is best solved by parents vaccinating their children for measles. And I've said that publicly, and I've said that privately.
Please say it again loudly and clearly so parents all over this country can hear you. Please say it again.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way to address the measles epidemic in this country is by vaccinating our children with measles.
Thank you very much.
I've also heard Secretary Kennedy say that publicly. I mean, I think, as I said in that, as you said in that quote, I've seen him caricatured quite unfairly. I think the key thing to me is that we have to address the deep distrust that has developed over the last several years by the public regarding.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I don't have a lot of time. You're right. There is deep mistrust. Do you think that deep mistrust now has something to do when you have an organization like the American Medical Association telling us that vaccines do not cause autism, but you have a secretary of HHS who says the very opposite? Do you think that causes concern and mistrust among parents?
You know, Senator, in 2024, there was a study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association that said that only about 40% of patients still trust their doctors. As someone who went to medical school myself, it's absolutely shocking. And that's before Secretary Kennedy took office. Well, we have to address this mistrust, but it has to be a bipartisan effort.
Hold on. And our final one. Here we go.
Are you telling us that the former head of CDC went to you, you asked her, are you a trustworthy person? And she said, no, I am not a trustworthy person?
She didn't say, no, I'm not a trustworthy person. She said, no.
Wow.
Having a quote. And I asked her
No, 1 second. And you're also repeating now that she is a liar.
Wait a minute, y'all. I got a question. Why is it that every person that is under the Trump administration or in his cabinet is disrespectful every time they come to a meeting? We never had people jumping out of their fucking pockets like this in Biden's administration. We never had people jumping out of their fucking pockets like this in Obama's administration. Why do we have every one of those people that are in the president's cabinet, including Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, Bondi, Noam, all of them, and RFK? Why do they all jump the fuck out their pocket and be disrespectful in meetings? And nobody cares about whether you think they being disrespected. They still don't know how to hold their decorum. Why is it that this is the only administration that we've seen this romper room clown show from? Because I done seen many hearings in my day, and I ain't never seen no other president's cabinet act like this, act a fool like this. Not like him, but all of them collectively.
Correct? What you wrote in the Wall Street Journal.
If she wrote that I fired her
because she refused to sign on in advance for the ASIP committee. No, that's not accurate.
All right, so you're calling her a liar, and I look forward to her coming before the Health Committee. Maybe this.
Can't listen. We can't let you go with that. This country has been successful under the Democrats more than the Republicans. The Democrats have done more to move the country forward than the Republicans. 77 million jobs created by Democrats, 29 million created by Republicans. Everything in this country has been moved forward primarily by Democrats. Okay? That's wild. And for the record, this is a lie. The Amish the Amish don't have measles and they don't do vaccines. The Amish has autism in their sector too. They have all the things that we have. Stop spreading the lies that the Amish don't because of vaccine. That's a lie. They have autism and everything else just like we do. Stop it.
This committee as well. All right, Mr. Secretary, I've got a bunch of questions. Appreciate brevity in answering it.
Yeah, that's something we don't even need to have a discussion about. That's all we need. That's all you need to do is look at the history. That's all you need to do is go back and look at history. That's all you need to do. That's it. We don't need to discuss that. Go look at your history.
So-called beautiful bill threw 15 million Americans off of health care, substantially raised premiums, and is going to have a terrible impact on nursing homes, community health centers, rural hospitals all over America. Very briefly, is that really making America healthy again?
It's going to be the biggest infusion of federal dollars into rural health care in American history.
Yeah, you know why? Because you're cutting $150 billion for rural hospitals. You're putting $50 billion back. That's not an infusion. That's a loss of $100 billion. All right, next question. President Trump, who I don't usually agree with, called COVID vaccines, quote, one of the greatest miracles in the history of modern day medicine that saved tens of millions of lives worldwide. Scientific community agrees with Trump. Lancet study found that it prevented almost 20 million deaths during their first year of use. Secretary Kennedy, are President Trump and the medical community right, or do you still believe that the COVID vaccine was, quote, the deadliest vaccine ever made?
No, first of all, I didn't say that. Oh, I said that in terms of affairs reports a while ago. I've said today, I think that President Trump should get the Nobel Prize.
So who's right? Is Trump in the medical community right, or are you right?
President Trump did an extraordinary piece of leadership.
Is he right or wrong? Did COVID save millions of lives?
As I said, he got Americans back to work. At that time, that particular vaccine, which perfectly matched the virus that was circulating then, and I have no idea how many lives it saved, but it saved quite a few.
You know, what I find a little bit weird in this discussion, I'm hearing it over and over again this morning, Mr. Chairman, is we've got the entire medical community on one side. You got the AMA representing hundreds of thousands of doctors, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Public Health Association. All of these organizations are telling us that COVID vaccine and vaccines in general are safe and effective. You are casting doubt on that. Who are the organizations that are agreeing with you and casting aspersions on vaccines?
The primary advisors are Marty McCary, Jay Bhattacharya, Dr. Oz, Vinay Prasad.
So you got a few doctors who agree with you, and I'm giving you the
Not a few doctors. What you're talking about is there's a big difference, Senator, between established science and the scientific establishment, which has been co-opted by the pharmaceutical industry.
So you're telling the American people that the American Medical Association, representing hundreds of thousands of people, have been co-opted and that they should not trust their doctors.
And I'm
the American Academy of Pediatrics, and by the way, just for the record, Every single Republican, I don't mean to be political here, Mr. Chairman, has received PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. Are they all corrupt as well?
And I'm telling you, the American Heart Association has been co-opted by the food.
Everybody but you, Senator. But you know what? When you ran for president, we have a corrupt campaign finance system. Maybe you will agree with me on that. Okay, you were already president. You got
Get him, Bernie. Get him, Bernie. Get him, Bernie.
billionaire behind it. You received $300,000 from people, not from the industry, people in it, as I did, from individuals. You corrupt. President Trump got $3 million. Every Republican got corporate PAC money for the pharmaceutical industry. Democrats as well. Everybody is corrupt, but you? Is that what we're looking at? I don't think so. And I think the issue now—
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, I think you do know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The issue is—
What's going on, Bernie? Bernie reading them and running them around circles. Yeah, they both about to stroke out.
every time anyone
Are you saying the pharmaceutical industry was supporting my presidential campaign?
I'm saying,
I don't think so.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the pharmaceutical industry is a greedy institution which is charging us the highest prices in the world. They are pervasive. But to suggest that every institution, the AMA, the pediatrics people, is corrupt because they disagree with you is an insult to the American people.
Listen, people disagree with me all the time. I have arguments in my agency, heated arguments every day with Jay Bhattacharya, with Marty McCary, with Dr. Oz.
You have given the names of a few people. I have given you the names of organizations representing hundreds of thousands of doctors and scientists. I yield, Mr. President.
Bernie come after your ass. When he come after your ass, he come hard. Bernie always come with the facts. I'm going to believe Bernie before I believe anybody else because Bernie normally comes with the facts. When a person normally comes with the facts, you can't help it. What's the RFK thought he was going to get away with snoozing, but you can't snooze with Bernie. Bernie going to tell the truth. All this week we've been having fights in the committees. These behind the scene committees, we've been having fights, and none of them have come up with helping the American people. None of them have come up with any kind of help for the American middle class. And we always got to look out for the middle class because nobody looks out for the middle class at all. And everybody want to fight, but they don't want to fight about making sure we have things we need here in this country. So I don't trust none of them. They all lie. They all lie, but there's only a couple that will do the things that you need them to do. And so you got to pick the ones that do the things you do. Now, I know for a fact, nobody on the Republican side gives a damn about regular, ordinary, everyday people. So I definitely would never vote for a Republican. Republican only scams you out of your money, scams you out of the money, and plays the culture wars. So it is what it is. And the best person in that damn place is Bernie Sanders, because at least I know Bernie is going to tell the truth. If I ask him to tell the truth, he's going to tell the truth. But it is what it is. I need you all to hit the like, share, and subscribe. We do this content every day. I'm more than likely I'm not going to be back later on. Bernie don't lie though. Bernie doesn't normally lie like that. Like they lie just to be breathed into lying. They do it because they want to do it and gain money. Bernie do it because maybe it'll hurt you, or maybe it won't, or maybe it'll hurt his cause. It's a different thing. Okay. No, we got a whole bunch of people in the Congress right now lying big time, and their names is Republicans, cause they don't want people to see the Epstein file. Saturday we're gonna do the Epstein. Interview. We're gonna see what the hell Epstein was talking about. The bullshit early in the morning, maybe around 5 a.m. We're gonna do it then. Yes, this president is the most divisive president that we have ever seen in our country in our lifetime. This president deliberately came after and divided this country into what he did to this day, because they continue to do what they do. They continue to say the problems in this country are those black and brown people. That's what this president continues to say, and that means you're trying to divide the country between black and white. When you say things like that, that tells me that you are the one that's dividing the country. Most people who run for the country, run for presidency, wants to bring the people together and then make them get behind his program. This president doesn't care about getting people behind his program. All he cares about is dividing, bringing chaos, and everything else. And so therefore, thank goodness, most of the world is waking up to what this president has been doing, and then we can get rid of this president. Well, we won't get rid of this president unless the Grim Reaper comes. I'm praying for the Grim Reaper, but I doubt very seriously. So we're hoping on November that we get these people out of here. Specifically, we need to get the Republicans out of there because they don't want to move the country forward. They only want to sit on what they do, and they only want to take orders from Donald Trump instead of taking orders from the American people. So, and since you want to take orders from somebody else instead of the American people, we got to vote you out. It is what it is. So, and we're on the road to doing that so we can help the American people better than what we can. We want to get minimum wage raised. We want to see about single payer health care. We want a mandatory ID. We want some comprehensive immigration. We want what is it? It's about 5 things. 5 things. Raise the minimum wage. Yeah, free school lunch. Get the illegal immigration, and we do some comprehensive immigration and single payer. So this is what we're trying to look forward to. This is what we want for the American people. It is what it is. If you do or you don't, I don't care. This is what we advocating for, whether they corrupt or not. But both parties are bullshit. And the only one that seems to want to help the American people right now are the Democrats. Republicans, hell no. They don't want nothing but the money. They don't want nothing but the money. But y'all hit the like, share, and subscribe. Yes, you got to do the research. You got to do research. Y'all hit the like, share, and subscribe. We have content like this every day. I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all. I definitely will be back. Not today, but I'll definitely be back. Definitely be back. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. Please and thank you.